Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. You be going wild, Haitian in the building. Got the haters, got the feelings. From held high, saying this is ready to get a body goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Find somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live. Somebody, let's go.
Good morning. Good afternoon and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Man, if you guys are feeling good out there, give me a purple heart emoji or a whole bunch of purple heart emojis in the chat. If this show is finding you in good spirits, please do that. All right. We all need some positivity today. All right. And yeah, I'll be asking for all you members to do a him guilty here in a little bit, of course, as well. But we got a lot going on today. I'm just going to say that really quick. If you didn't catch the memo, today is a very action-packed day. We are going to be on for a good long time today. Okay? Just wanted to give you guys that heads up. Okay? Sorry, hold on. Sorry, guys. Damn. Okay. Well, I was hoping for something. And I'm keeping my ringer on for a very specific reason. And I'll explain here in just a minute. I'm going to tell you right now. We got boots on the ground in Latah County, at the Latah County Court right now. I'll explain here even more in just a second. Let's just continue with the music, get into the vibe, get ready because it is going to be an epic day. We have three different events going on today in court today, which I will be breaking those things down. And they're all going in succession. They're going bang, bang, bang. All three of them. But we are all waiting for every single last one of them. We will be watching it together as a family. So I just wanted to give you that heads up, letting y'all know what's on and popping today. You're going to be seeing me eat. You're going to be seeing me chilling in the cut, getting as much information as I can. But we do actually have correspondence, boots on the ground out there at courtside, if that makes any sense. And I'm very excited about it. We got some great, awesome coverage for you guys today. Doing something different, something I've never done. Now I'm feeling like a MSNBC, Fox News, and CNN all rolled into one. I'm feeling kind of excited about this, y'all. And I'll explain here in a little bit, I promise. But before we get into everything, because we are putting in some hard work for you guys today, okay? Not only just myself, the other people that are involved as well. So do me a favor, for the sake of the show, to give the show some lovey love, please hit that like button down below. Send it past 400 likes. I see you guys coming in, being a part of the conversation. All right. So please come on in. Step right up. Jump on in. We got some news for you guys today. So get that past 400 likes. A like don't cost a thing, but it does help the algorithm. It does get the story out there for everybody and their mama to see. Okay. And of course, if you haven't done it yet, please do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I don't know what else to tell y'all. Just hit it, because it's going to be a big day. Many, many hours, many miles to go before we sleep today. And I'm giving you all of it today, nonstop. So you're going to be seeing me chilling. You're going to see me commentating. You're going to see some correspondence from some good friends of ours that are right there in the trial, walking in as we speak right now. That we'll be seeing Bryan Kohberger walk in and plead something, okay? And then, of course, we're going to be doing a bunch of research conversations. And I may open up not the phone lines, but the video chat lines to get you guys' opinions on things that are unfolding. So please do me a favor, hit that subscribe button again. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live, whenever I upload, because it be random, yo, okay? So please do that, all right? And if you feel like supporting the channel, you know, I hate to say this, but you know, these purple lights don't pay themselves, okay? They really don't. So please, super chats, even joining this channel, okay? Becoming a Pascal Show family member helps the channel tremendously. And for those of y'all who are already giving out super chats and all that, I really do appreciate it. Thank you, okay? I want to give you guys as much information. This is a big day. This is like Super Bowl for this. Well, not Super Bowl. I don't know what to call it, but it's a big deal. Okay? Very big deals today. So I appreciate you guys being here. Okay. Enough of the intro music, all that. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, all of that good stuff. Share this too, baby. All right? Because we are going in today. All right? Now, we already know Coco. I know some of you guys don't like that, but I do. I think it's kind of funny. But Bryan Kohberger, I like to call him Coco from time to time, is going to be seen for the first time in months since the last time we saw him do his perp walk. We will be seeing the same thing all over again today. Him doing his perp walk. It's going to be special. And the reason why I say it's going to be special is because, we get to find out if he's going to plead. Will he plead guilty? Will he plead not guilty? I'm thinking he's going to be pleading not guilty. But you never know. The world is weird. There's a lot of crazy things that have happened. We've reported it. We've talked about it as a family. Surprises do happen. Maybe he walks in and says, F it, I got nothing. Me guilty. Maybe he does that. Maybe he does. And maybe he does not. Maybe he goes in there and goes, nope, I will be exonerated. Like he's Sling Blade. Maybe. We shall see. But please don't call. Please don't call. All right? Phone lines are not open, and they will not be open throughout the duration of this show. Please and thank you. Okay. Lost my train of thought. Don't you hate it when that ish happens? Dag nabbit. Anyway, as I was saying, we will find out at his arraignment, which happens in about, 22 minutes from now? We are going to be finding out whether he's going to be pleading guilty or not guilty. Okay? So the first things first, the big one, I think, the big one that we all give a damn about, in my personal opinion, is going to be his arraignment. Now, we already know that they had a secret grand jury proceeding behind everybody's back that has already happened. This is the reason why we are now going into this random arraignment that just came out of left field. We were all expecting June 26th to come up for him to do his perp walk. Everybody see him go, boo, did you do it, Bryan? All that stuff. We were expecting that to happen June 26th. But actually, now we're going to see that a lot earlier today. And I guarantee you, if the public sees him do his perp walk, if everyone sees him, waddling his way into, shuffling his way into the courthouse, somebody going to be out there going, did you do it, Bryan? Why did you do it, Bryan? We're going to get something like that. So get ready for it, okay? But outside of that, we are going to hear him again say guilt, plead something, either innocence or guilt. So we're going to be waiting for that. Then at 10 a.m. Pacific time, okay, there will be a scheduling conference on the gag order. Now, let me just say this, okay? And this is just my personal opinion, okay? And I know my personal opinion could be absolutely 110,000% wrong. But I'm going to say it anyway because I don't give a damn, and I am who I am, Popeye. But I don't care about the gag order. I don't care. Because let's be real. If you saw the Dateline documentary special thing that was on Saturday night, or was it Saturday night? My bad. Was it Friday night? I think it was Friday night when it premiered. Correct? Maybe I'm wrong. But I digress. In that you still saw interviews from family. You saw people talking. Now, they may not be able to talk about the actual goings-ons that happen inside that house, but they're still getting interviewed. We've been seeing interviews with Banfield, News Nation, and all that from Steve Gonsalves. And I'm not saying anything. I'm not knocking Steve Gonsalves. Hey, get on that mic, get in front of that camera, and say what you need to say. Real talk. Get it all out. Tell them, hey, you mess with the wrong family all day. Make him shiver in his boots. Make that monster who's alleged, okay, innocent until proven guilty in the court of law. You know how it is. He is being, obviously, make him shiver in his boots. We were going to make your life a living hell. We're going to make it a hard time for you. They are still getting interviews. They're still doing interviews. So gag order. A rose is a rose is a rose, right? In my personal opinion, okay, they can still put in their opinions, but they can't really talk about the things that are going on. All right, so the gag order is bupkis to me. And I know some of you legals out here that are pushing up your imaginary glasses right now saying, oh, on the contrary, sir, actually, it says in column 62 of dash 44, I don't care about that. All I'm saying is if the gag order is stopping them from talking, they're still talking. And if the whole reason is to get the family to speak up and say stuff, well, they're already talking. They may not be able to talk specifically about things in the trial, but at the same time, it's not stopping them from saying things. It's very interesting. Okay? Just in my personal opinion. Okay? Now, I will say this too. All right? We still, nothing's happened yet. So I will be showing you guys when things are on and popping. Okay. So I know some of you guys are going, when you talk about watch party, we just hearing you talk. Things have not started popping off. Things aren't starting. Things have not really officially gone off yet. Now, let me just get things here just so I have it. And from what we know right now, nothing's going on right now. Everyone's waiting. They're waiting. All right. Idly by, waiting for their first glimpse, waiting for anything. I do have WFLA on here as well, which we will be kind of bouncing back and forth from, just so you guys can see proof positive. It is right here. So you don't think I'm lying. Okay. So it is here. So I have it in the corner waiting. Okay. When it's ready to start on and popping. It hasn't started yet. Okay. So, and I think we are all waiting, Patrice. Okay. Patrice, I'm just waiting. So am I. So am I. Okay. So first one is going to be the arraignment. That's the first, that's the main one, guys. That's the main event that we're all waiting for. Then at 10, an hour later, there's a scheduling conference on the gag order. Okay. Then at 11 a.m., there's the motion to compel. Now, this is all when it has to do with all the evidence, et cetera, that defense has, or that, the prosecution has, and all that, and whether or not they're going to be using those things in court or in this trial. One of the main things is the genetic genealogy results. Are we going to be using it? Are they not going to be using it? What's up with that? So that's one piece that we're still waiting. Okay. We are still waiting for that information on that as well. But in my personal opinion, the main event, the main one that we're waiting for is number one. First and foremost, when Bryan Kohberger walks into the courtroom again and pleads whether he is guilty or not. And my thoughts are, he's going to say, I'm innocent. He's going to say it. But then again, wilder things have happened, and wilder things have been caught on tape in a trial. Now, one of the other things that I'm very, very excited about, like super excited about, okay, I need to move these things around so I have them in my sight, is that we are also going to be having correspondents, boots on the ground during these hours. So Andrea Burkhart, our good friend, our friendly neighborhood lawyer, okay? Family, as we already know. She's been on here multiple times covering this case and this case alone with us, explaining things, breaking things down for us. She will be there. She is there right now as we speak. In fact, let me show you proof positive that she out there. And she's going to be hanging out with us in just a little while. And it's very exciting, guys. So boots on the ground, as you can see right here, splat out. Andrea Burkhart, field trip. She is right there, y'all. Bang. Just so you guys, see it. Bow. That is the courthouse. She is sitting there waiting idly by, waiting to get in there as we speak. I'm corresponding with her right now, and I'm going to read some of you guys the things that she's been saying. So right now, because I've been asking her, how has it been? Has it been chaos? Has it been, has it been an absolute cluster F over there? And she is basically saying, she said, it's not too crazy. They're keeping things pretty organized, which I would expect. But obviously this story has grown so massive, has become such a massive story. It has grabbed the attention and the hearts and minds of everybody all over the globe. I'm kind of expecting to see some very polarizing information, some very polarizing. I'm expecting some. I was expecting to see some clashing, hearing something, because there are some people out here that are hardcore, die-hard Kohberger fans. They're pro-Co, okay, and then there's a lot of anti-Co, okay. So I thought maybe it was going to be East Side, West Side. You know what I mean? Our side's better. No, our side's better. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. But she said everything's cool so far. But this is when she was in line. And I want to say this too. You got to give her mad props, okay? Because she will be coming out. From what I understand, she will be coming out, hopefully, at the end of every single one and giving us every single hour to give us a breakdown of what she witnessed in the courtroom, seeing Bryan Kohberger for the first time, all that stuff. Either she gives us it right then and there, because I'm assuming reporters are going to be able to come in and out. Media is going to be able to come in and out. I'm hoping that's the case. We're still playing a lot of things by ear just to give you guys a heads up. And if it doesn't happen like that, it'll happen at the very end after the motion to compel. Okay? But she will give us a full breakdown of everything, what she saw, what she experienced, all that. So she also said, right now, this was about 20 minutes ago. She said, we're supposed to be going through the security in a minute or two here, and then it's phones off. So she won't be able to do anything until I'm thinking after the first round of things, like the arraignment. So I'm hoping, because that's the one I really give a care about. And I don't really personally, of course, you guys already know my feelings about this, but I don't really care. I'm not really holding, waiting with bated breath for the gag order, but I am interested to see what they say about the motion to compel. So we have boots on the ground. She is out there. She is doing her thug thizzle, and I'm very excited about it. So she's going to be giving us play-by-play information as much as she can, okay? And yeah, I'm hoping that everything goes smoothly. I just don't know how they're going to proceed, okay? I just don't know how they're going to proceed with this, but I'm cool with it, okay? Because no matter what, we're going to get the information. And that's all we give a damn about, right? So before we continue, okay, let me get these super chats really quick because I see you guys coming in. Thank you so much for the support, okay? I'm trying to give you the best show I can with us shooting from the hip here, okay? I will be, just a full-on heads up before I go into the super chats, I will be bouncing back and forth from the WFLA stream, because they're doing a huge, big coverage over there as well. I will be bouncing back and forth from that to some articles, because there are some things that happened in the Dateline documentary, or the Dateline special, that I'd love to talk to you guys about as well. So we will be bouncing back and forth throughout the course of the show. So I appreciate you guys being here. Again, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. This is going to be a trek, but it's going to be worth it. Let's get these super chats real quick. Okay, Tyler, thank you so much for the 2. Thank you for doing what you do. I appreciate you, Tyler. Thank you so much for the love. Kelly Bruner, thank you so much for the 5. Jess B, thank you so much for the 10. Josie, thank you so much for the £2. Thank you. Super proud of your hard work, dude. Thank you. I appreciate it, love. Thank you so much. Isoff, thank you so much for the 220 Canadian bucks. I appreciate it. Or $2.20 Canadian bucks. Appreciate it. Goddess Sahara, thank you so much for the 2. Sunshine Daydream, thank you so much for the 5 super sticker. Bullets, Beauty, Brawn, and Bling, BBBBB. Thank you so much for the 10. Just want to send you some love for being a constant gentleman and talking about these difficult cases with grace and compassion. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you all so much for all of your support. Real talk. Like I said, if you guys aren't here, I'm talking to a wall, okay? I'm talking to a bloody wall. All right? So thank you. Thank you, loves. Thank you, lovey. So let's continue. All right? I'm going to play a little bit of this I'm going to play some of this WFLA, see what's going on here, see what they have seen, if any.
Trial, which is
we got Jennifer Coffin-Daffer in the house.
Arraignment. Of course, you in this process, because it was done by criminal complaint, you have to either have a preliminary hearing or a grand jury substantiate the initial probable cause that was found. So anyway, my point is we're already pushed out past kind of what would normally be considered speedy.
I also want to bring up something here in just a second, but I'm just checking something here. Jennifer, give me one moment. Okay, let's bring it back here to the Stream Center, folks. Let's remind our audience, if you're just finding our live stream, you haven't missed anything other than a good-hearted conversation between myself and retired FBI agent Jennifer Coffin-Daffer, who's joining us here live on stream. We're here in the Stream Center. On these screens, I'm able to access multiple feeds coming out of Idaho. In fact, I'll show you one feed. We'll go here to this one. And this one is a particular path that's coming through New York City. So we have a lot of different signals going through a lot of different hoops. And we're going to try our very best here to, of course, keep you posted as to when the arraignment video will drop. Because as a reminder, it cannot be streamed live. And I know I've said this multiple times, but we're constantly engaging a new digital audience. And every time that people, come, every time that there's a moment where we have an opportunity to remind you of this, we have to. It cannot be streamed live. We are going to, of course, share it with you the moment that we are legally allowed to do so.
Now, I do want to say that, of course, this whole arraignment, again, let me just repeat that, what he said. Let me echo that. Absolutely. They're not streaming it live. So it's not going to be anything crazy. In fact, there was someone leaked the webcam Zoom meeting that they're having for this arraignment, which I'm assuming they changed the web password and all that stuff. But there was they had all this information somehow leaked where you could actually, if they were going to use it, would have been able to jump in and watch the arraignment live, actually live, right? But that is just leaked BS and all that. Now, they're still waiting, as he said, and I've said before too, they're still waiting for Bryan Kohberger to show up. He ain't there yet. The arraignment doesn't start well, I'm sure he's pulled up. What they showed just a second ago, where it was like almost like they were in a garage, it looked like he was there and that they're just trying to make him properly secure, right? Before they move on, before they bring him into the building. So that's the glimpse that I saw. Now, that could be old footage, but from what it looked like from WFLA, it looked like they were really starting to move him in. Again, this is right here. There it is. See that? Maybe that's him. Maybe that's real. Or like today, but I don't know.
I'm trying to think of maybe an entire social media history pertaining to a person connected to this case. That is an enormous amount of data on both sides to go through. And so I wonder how that is going to play a role, Jennifer, in this case going forward.
Well, that amount of evidence, as you said, it's astronomical. And that is why I'm predicting a trial 2 to 4 years away. I really don't even want to say the number 2. I think it'll be more number 3, number 4.
Don't do that to me, Jennifer.
It's going to be a long time away.
Don't say that.
There is so much for them to go through, meaning the defense. And it's just a matter of
2-4 years.
It's impossible to do it in a short period of time.
The hell? No, I'm not here for it.
A very lengthy process. And so it'll be interesting to see how this all shakes out from here as well. I'm being told in our comment section to refresh Bryan Enton's Twitter. Let's do that.
Yeah, why not?
2 minutes ago, the victims' families are arriving into the courtroom.
That's good to know.
Kaylee's sister, Olivia, has her baby with her as well. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly.
That's what's up. Now, you just heard Jennifer Coffindaffer say to herself, and I know that there's been a lot of, let's just say there's been a lot of people that are, don't entirely agree with things that Jennifer Coffindaffer says, but hey, it is her opinion and her opinion alone, and she's allowed to have it, right? But that theory that maybe it won't be for another 2 to 4 years, oh my Lord. That would be bad news, Bears. I'm sorry. How far can we get? Oh my Lord. I get it that there's 51 terabytes of data, photos, videos, etc. on some hard drives that the defense has to go through and all that, but still, come on. 2 to 4 years? The hell? Hell no. No, I'm not for that. I'm not for that. In fact, let me do exactly what they're doing. That's a good idea. F it, Let's look at, well, one thing I do want to point out first is I want to see if, so she is. So 6 minutes ago, and even so, we do have our correspondence from Andrea Burkhart, okay? And she even said as well 6 minutes ago, I'm sitting next to Carrie from Lewiston Tribune. I won't be live tweeting, but she will, so follow her updates, okay? So about an hour ago, she said, in line with media, waiting for Latah County courthouse doors to open. Kohberger arraignment begins at 9 a.m., which is supposed to be right now, okay? That's supposed to be right now, but it's okay. It's all good. It's all good, okay? Because we're going to be able to have, we got friends in media places, okay? So 14 minutes ago, he said, made it into the courtroom. It's pretty small. Kohberger is not here yet. Prosecutor Bill Thompson just walked in. Then he said 5 minutes ago, the victim family, which of course, JB from WFLA just said, WFLA, okay? He just said, the victims' families are arriving in the courtroom. Kaylee's sister, Olivia, has her baby with her, which we already know. And then as of 32 seconds ago, I count about 25 people here sitting in the family section. A lot of people I have not seen before. Many are already emotional. Family is on one side, media on the other. About 50 people total. So 50 out of the 50, our good friend, Andrea Burkhart, is in the house, sitting in there waiting for all this ish to go popping off. Okay. And I'll continue to keep going back to Bryan Enton's Twitters to see what's up. But that is still weird to me that he is allowed to have his cell phone out her all up in the trial, but she can't. I think that's a little weird, unless they have to show credentials, and that could be it too. But that is very interesting to me. But I'm going to go back to WFLA to see if they have anything thus far. And so far, nada. Zilch. Zippity doo dah. But let's hear what they got to say. What else they're talking about real quick.
These hearings aren't going to be live streamed. That tells me he's conservative. He's sealed the witnesses that spoke at the grand jury. This speaks to me as far as his general conservative nature concerning protecting this case, protecting the facts, protecting the witnesses. And because of that, I think he will continue to keep that order in place. And recall too, the media asked for an extension, a continuance, I should say, a continuance. And he said, no, we're having the hearing the 22nd and it's not going to change. So I think that also tells me that he's read the positions on both sides. He's looked at the legal ramifications as well as the case law and the law. And unless they say something that's completely different than their briefs, I think he's going to keep it intact.
Maybe. The time is now 9:02 Pacific time.
And nothing.
12:02 Eastern time. Of course, the arraignment scheduled for this half hour. So let's go over some of the tweets from Brian Enton before we do. As a reminder here, I know.
Showing up fashionably late, I guess. Very interesting. Okay. Very, very interesting. Now, when it comes to this, I really do think that it has to do with media, because even Andrea said, I'm sitting next to someone who works for, another media outlet, and that she's going to be tweeting or whatever. So it may be because she's going in there as just as a regular civilian. She's not going in there going, hi, I'm with this media outlet, here are my credentials. They probably are like, okay, well, you need to fork over your phone, which is a solid possibility here. Of course, I'm going to try to send her messages and all that to see if maybe she has her laptop with her or something like that. But like I said, let's see. See what happens. But, like I said, it is still all very, very fresh. And of course, we're still waiting for the man of the hour, the monster of the hour. Okay. We're still waiting for this mother lover to grace us with his presence. Okay. And it's already 9:05 their time. So he late to his own party. And that's very interesting. But let me take some of your comments here really quick, okay? Because I know Nicole B just said that he could be using his Apple Watch. I think it's just media, literally media with credentials have access to their phones and to whatnot. Just regular civilians don't. And unfortunately, she doesn't have, we didn't talk before with the media credentials and all that. And that's something to think about the next time when things go crazy on a story like this. Official Nikki said, what time does it start? It was supposed to start by 5 minutes ago, girl. 5 minutes ago. Harlot O'Scara just said he'll probably have scars all over his face. From trying to shave, unless he grew a beard, which I really doubt. He really messed himself before the first hearing with cuts all over his face. Yeah, I don't know. I think with this, they're probably watching him so closely. It really depends on how, if he's just letting it all go, just growing a beard, going, hey, it's a new look for me, or if he's doing something completely different. We shall definitely see. for sure. And this is the reason why we are going to be here throughout the course of this thing. We're going to watch this as a family and check out the madness. Okay. Sorry, guys. Just checking some things, doing a little bit of research. All right. All right. Yeah. So they're still waiting. We're all still waiting, you know? Oh, thank you. You like the shirt. Thank you. You know, got it from this really great place. Super expensive. It's called Walmart. Really expensive place. I really did a couple years ago. Walmart, baby. They do not sponsor this show, but Walmart, what's up? Holla at your boy. Let's see. American Honey, US, or American Honey. Thank you so much. Media can record, but they can't post the video until after it's over. Media probably had to show credentials. Not positive on that part, though. Yeah, I really do think it was a matter of showing credentials, showing actual proof positive that they are with News Nation or you know, WFLA or anything of that sort. As we are still waiting, you know, we are still waiting for something. Hold on, let me see.
It here together, but a lot of family members, a lot of members of the media, all filing in, descending on Latah County, a relatively small town, rural town of Idaho. We have seen so many cases. I think back to Alex Murdaugh being in the low country of South Carolina, just so many places where these stories just take an enormous amount, these areas that receive an enormous amount of media attention, Jennifer, and now we're back in Latah County, Idaho.
Yeah, and you know, it's very interesting. I know in my Twitter feed, I have a lot of individuals that are on there that are from here. They're from Pullman. They attend both of these universities. And those individuals say it is so eerie having him at the Latah County Jail.
Here is that video now, Jennifer, and we're going to see some of the folks. This is not live, folks. This is on a delay. This is some of the News Nation video that's being quite literally fed out to stations as we speak. So we're looking here at some of the raw, as we call it, B-roll that is coming in. We'll see some of the shots from outside the courthouse itself.
Okay, we got some updates,
and this
guys.
is now used by news stations to prepare things for their afternoon news.
We got some updates. Let me grab that really quick. Brian Enton did put out a tweet just a little bit ago. So it's interesting, unless they got him to sneak in somehow, which is very interesting. But as of a minute ago, this is weird, y'all. It's like they snuck his ass in. There it is. Bryan Kohberger is in the courtroom as we speak, as of a minute ago. That is weird, y'all. It's a tiny court, teeny tiny, as Butterfly said, teeny tiny courthouse. Yes. So it's a teeny tiny courthouse, and they were able to get Bryan Kohberger in without getting caught on tape. That is very interesting. So he is in there right now as we speak. I'm telling you, this is going to be like 20, 30 minutes. This is going to be very, very short. It might be shorter than 20. It might be a 15-minute conversation moment here of his arraignment. Him saying not guilty, or them, listing off all the things that he is being charged for. He is going to reply with his guilty, not guilty. And then they're going to basically say, okay. And then they're going to make it, and then they go from there. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens here too. Okay. Okay. I didn't know that. So the jail is directly beneath the courthouse. Thank you so much for that info. That's interesting. But it's weird that they didn't even have footage of him walking in. You know what I'm saying? Like they did last time. They had he had his perp walk. The cameras were all up in that place. And now, wow, that's crazy. And now he just walks in. They're like, yep, he's here. He in her. That's crazy, guys. Okay. I had somebody's comment here, and then now oh, there it is. Tara, yes, this is going to be a quickie. That's what he said, right? But yeah, this is going to be a quickie, y'all. It's going to be in and out. You know what I mean? Legally speaking. But that's freaking weird. That is some wild ish, y'all. Wild
in myself. Brian Enton tweeting out a moment ago, and we'll continue to read his tweets here aloud.
As we should.
Let's see. Kohberger is wearing an orange jail jumpsuit, seems to be wearing a bulletproof vest underneath. Judge is reading Kohberger his rights and the charges. Kohberger is looking straight ahead and nodding a bit to show that he understands what the judge is saying. That's the last tweet. So the arraignment itself has officially begun, Jennifer. So far, very procedural. This is exactly what we were expecting as far as today. Brian doesn't note if there's any.
Okay. Now, obviously, Bryan Enton is putting out information here, obviously. So we're going to take a look at those things because it seems like he's going one after another. So we're going to go for it. He says, and this is what the JB just said. But yeah, let's just refresh. Let's just keep refreshing his Twitter because he's just going to keep on giving us information. So Kohberger is wearing an orange jumpsuit, seems to be wearing a bulletproof vest underneath. Obviously, I think that's what they did last time too. Judge is reading Kohberger his rights and charges, like I just said. Obviously, okay. Kohberger is looking straight ahead and nodding a bit to show he understands what the judge is saying. Clearly, he has to, right? Clearly, he's going to be doing that. Judge is now going over the indictment with Kohberger. Oh, sorry, my bad. So nodding a bit, what the judge is saying. Kohberger just said, "Yes, I do." When the judge asked if he understands anything he says can be used against him, so he said, "Yes, I do." Judge is now going over the indictment with Kohberger. That's what we have so far. Let's see what happens if I refresh. Nothing so far, but this is what we got. Okay, thus far. Okay. And of course, I'm really saying, Sandwich, you might be right. He might be loving this attention. He might not though too. Remember, we haven't really heard him say like a damn thing. We just been seeing him walking in and out quiet, and we just been seeing photos of him, right? Lolita, hold on, let me refresh this, see if there's any more information. So far, nothing. Okay. So far, nothing. But he plead not guilty. Absolutely. Maybe, Lolita. Maybe. You never know. He might say he's guilty. I obviously think he's going to say he's not. I think he's going to say he's not guilty. Obviously. Let's keep that. Let's keep it a buck, y'all. He going to say he's not guilty. All right. Without a shadow of a doubt, he's going to say, "I'm innocent. I didn't do this." But there's a lot of stuff that shows us otherwise. And I'd really like to see how he gets himself out of this mess, or his team, obviously. So, and if you guys think he's guilty, okay, please put you, and if you're a member, okay, because this is the emoji only works for you guys who are members. Please use the him guilty emoji, the members emojis that I have for you guys. Please put it in there. I want to see you guys light up the comment section if you think he is guilty with the him guilty emojis. Okay, that's what I want to see. All right. Still nothing. I'm sure the indictment, all the charges, etc., going through all of that ish. It's quite a bit of stuff. There's this. Let's show you what I'm talking about. Let's show you what I means. Where is it? Hold on. There we go. It finally wants to be a friend. But this is just a few of the examples of the things that he is looking at right now. Obviously, there's a bunch of them. It's the same thing over and over and over again because it's all for murder in the first, okay? But again, Count one was the breaking and entering, the going in and the burglary. Okay, but you have 1, 2, 3, and 4, or count 2 to 5 on murder in the first, and that covers everyone from Ethan, Xana, Kaylee, and Madison. And he has to read through all of those. Now, depending on if he's a fast reader, like, reading aloud and all that stuff. If he's a fast reader, this will go pretty quickly. If he's not, then we gonna be sitting and chilling and waiting. But last time it was pretty quick, in and out, 15 minutes, just about 15, 20 minutes. And to just put up another one, the judge is reading each victim's name as he goes over the M charges: Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, Xana Knodel, Ethan Chapin. He's going through every single one. And are we surprised about that? No, because this is standard procedure. Okay. Okay. So let me see what they say here, what discussions they're having here.
In my role as a father with something like that, I would, it's a nightmare. And I've been, I think, in 3 different cases where those emotions boiled over and somebody actually tried to jump the defendant. That's the worst case scenario and the most dramatic scenario. But I think you will see a mix of family members trying to stare down the defendant, try to get him to look them in the eye. And I think that's one thing a reporter looks at. What did the defendant look at? Did the defendant make any attempt to look back at who was looking at him? And what are the family members looking at? And how do they react to each and every word? I think Jennifer said, this is theoretically going to be routine, but there's definitely nothing routine about it emotionally for those family members, because their lives.
True. We got another one, though. We got another update from Bryan. We're going to be going moment by moment, but 2 different ones. He said, judge tells Kohberger the maximum penalty is life in prison or muerte. Okay? Or the final, the period at the end of his sentence. If you get, that's actually, pun intended. Hey, look at me. Hey. But moving on, Kohberger says yes, that he understands the charges and penalties. See, I'm so happy. Like, shout out to Bryan Enton. I would love to have him on this show, just because of all the hard work he's done. I mean, this guy's a beast. Real talk. Of course, lucky him, he's got News Nation to be like, buying him tickets to fly everywhere and all that. But dag nabbit, it's pretty dope. But moving on. Anyway, moving on. Okay. So he said yes. Okay, he understands. Kohberger is silent, so the judge is entering not guilty pleas. What? The prosecution is now has 60 days to seek the DP, the ultimate. Wait a second. So he pled not guilty by standing silent? What? Does that make sense? So yeah, Virginia, now he'll mute. Now he mute. What the hell? So now he don't speak no English? Okay. I've never heard that before in my life. Yeah, Josie. Unless there's a typo from Brian Enton, which is very rare in my personal opinion, like him stating something that's not entirely correct. But you see it right there. Let me hold on. Let me refresh really quick just to make sure I'm not losing any more updates real quick before I look into this or blow this up anymore. But here it is. Another one. Kohberger's attorney is asking the judge to set the trial for October. Oh, snap. Oh, snap. Says it will take at least 4 weeks, maybe 6. So she wants the trial. So no 2 to 4 years, y'all. Yay. Okay, so she is saying October. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Okay, and apparently, what does it mean to stand silent in court? Just so you guys know this information, okay? Just so you, wow, I'm surprised about October too, gamer lover. Gamer lover's like October. Wow. So no 2 to 4 years. Jennifer Coffin said 2 to 4 years. Hold on. So just so we understand what it means to stand silent in court, okay? What does the right to remain silent mean? The right to remain silent comes from the Fifth Amendment in the United States Constitution. It guarantees that you will not be required to testify against yourself if you're accused of a crime. But that's the thing. I need to look up more detail about the actual standing silent in general, because that's very odd to me. Okay, that's very, very odd. But still, no matter what, that's crazy information. Now his trial date is set for October 2nd at 8:30 a.m. Now we have a date, guys. Dag nabbit. We don't have to wait 4 mother-loving years. I'm really happy about that. Oh my God. Oh mon Dieu. I would have lost my mind. All right. 2 to 4 years. I'd be like, man, you know how many people would be stretching this story, saying that aliens landed on top of the house in Kings Road and abducted those children and stuff. And oh my Lord. Okay. But that is big fracking news. Okay. So now we have that as well. Breaking news, breaking. Court has been adjourned. Let me see if I can make a miracle happen. Hopefully Andrea will be able to come out and give us the lowdown of what the heck is going on here. Because like I said, that is some crazy stuff. He stood silent. And actually, I'm going to look that up too. Okay. Defendant's right to remain silent means the defendant's confession cannot be admitted to the defendant's trial unless the confession satisfies certain constitutional and statutory requirements. See, that doesn't. A defendant's right to remain silent means that the defendant's, I just said all that. In order for the confession to be admissible at trial, the prosecution must prove that the confession was given freely and voluntarily, that the defendant was given proper warnings regarding his or her rights prior to the confession, and that the defendant properly waived his or her right to remain silent. But that, so I guess him just standing quiet just meant he was just standing quiet. And that's it. That's so weird. I will say that. Let's see what they say over here.
We'll have 12 minutes of video to play back. So now the answer that I want to know is whether or not the judge and whether or not district court in Idaho will permit the pool camera feed to then distribute the video so that we can play that back. Jennifer, we were talking about the 2 additional motion hearings that are now set to take place and whether or not that is going to happen back to back. Based on the court being adjourned, that tells us that in all likelihood that we're now going to have to wait till 10 and 11 a.m. Pacific time for the second and third motions to be heard in court. And maybe we get the video really soon as far as the video.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that video.
Inside the courtroom of the arraignment.
Yeah, a little surprising. I would have expected him to go back to back because, again, the arraignment is so short, you know, but he probably has a very calculated reason for doing that. Perhaps Bryan Kohberger will not be at his hearings. It'll be very interesting to see also the feed, if these hearings are allowed to be seen. As far as we know, they're going to be, but has there been a change of heart? Have you heard anything about that, JB?
I have not, but I'm paying attention here. And so we have an alert system that is set up in at WFLA for breaking news alerts. Hold on, I'm getting a notice here. Yeah, okay. So they are preparing now to distribute the feed, but that doesn't tell us anything about exactly when the feed will be available. They're just getting ready to transmit it. When, of course, the pool camera feed says it's time to transmit it. So that's where things stand. And so anything else here? Let's go back to Bryan Enton's Twitter and just make sure that we are crossing our T's, dotting our I's. And yeah, we have everything wrapped up here. Kohberger's attorney is asking the judge to set the trial for October and 4 to 6 week trial. Well, what do you make of that?
They said 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks. That was according to Kohberger's attorney, Ann Taylor.
It sounds a little short, doesn't it? For a quadruple murder.
I guess it depends on the number of witnesses.
I would bet it goes more towards 6. And I think jury selection is not going to take a standard amount of time.
Well, if you're a defense attorney, we just don't know what the evidence looks like.
Sorry, I'm in the middle of corresponding with Andrea Burkhart right now as we speak. So she does have some sort of electronic device that she's able to correspond with me and everything. So I'm hoping to hear from her with some more descriptions and stuff, because she is literally in the back. She said, real quick, she said, arraignment is finished. I got to sit tight or I'll lose my seat, which I totally understand. So we won't be hearing her for a few hours from now, but that's fine. We got WFLA, we got Court TV when they upload the video and all that as well. And then she said, I made it in the main courtroom at the very back. So I just asked her a couple questions to see if she can give us just a little bit of information, okay, as far as what's the vibe in the room, how did Bryan Kohberger look, so on and so forth, that maybe she can give us some, just a little bit of information during this time, okay? So hopefully I'll hear something from her, because I know that she's not really, she doesn't have her phone with her. So she's just kind of giving us information as she goes. I'm also going to check her tweets as well to see if maybe she put anything out here. And no, she hasn't really said anything. But I am going to check her friends, the person that she was sitting next to. No, I mean, all of it's basically the same stuff. All of it's basically the same old-ish, which is basically like that, a court is adjourned. He stood silent, which the judge took as a not guilty plea, which is something I've never heard of before in my life. Okay. I've never heard of that in my life. I'm going to keep it real. I'm used to someone saying I'm innocent or not guilty, but I've never heard something like that before. So that's news to me. Let me see if Bryan Enton said anything as of late. Wait a second. Okay, never mind. Come on, where are you at? Let's see. Still nothing from Bryan Enton. But of course, I'm sure he's going from one place to another, trying to get his stuff together, locking things down, probably, corresponding in some sort of way. But let's hear a little bit of this.
Pages.
Right. And I know that News Nation...
Although if it's terabytes, we're assuming correctly that if it's pictures, it takes up more space, correct?
Well, video. Video is really what's going to take up a lot of space, and how compressed it is and where it's coming from, its origin.
But still a lot of information.
51 terabytes is utterly massive. And I know that doesn't compute with a lot of if you work in IT or you work,
You're right.
You get
That's
it.
right. Yeah. I don't know if I get it, to be honest. I know it's a lot.
It's a lot.
I know it's a lot, but I don't know if I understand what that is relative to. Like, what would you compare it to? Is it like how many terabytes would War and Peace be? I mean, I don't know. You know, I'm talking pages, but
I mean, I'm just I do know that it's I think News Nation had and thank you to Chris in our comment section. 51 terabytes is equivalent to 331 million pages.
Wow.
But there's not going to be 331 million pages.
No.
It's going to come down to video.
Oh, hell yeah, it's video.
I'm telling you, man, if I'm going through, if I'm an attorney and I just got a hard drive delivered to my office or cloud access to 51 terabytes, I might just take a moment to go into a corner, crawl up into a little ball and cry for a minute because I'm now looking at the next, I don't know, year and a half of my life going.
Okay, sorry, real quick. I got a message from Andrea. So I asked her, hey, you know, how is everything? You know, what's the vibe in there? So on and so forth. So she said, a bit tense. Some of the family members cried when the names were read out in the charges. Someone in the family had an infant, which is, I think, Kaylee's sister. It's making gurgly noises, which is kind of calming. Life goes on. And I think she means by, like, you know, having youth in there makes you realize how much, you know, that life is still precious and life is still going on. Like, you know, other kids, babies are growing and stuff. So I think that's what she was talking about. But I am going to keep, you know, sending her messages to see what else she can give us in the middle of this. One thing I am going to ask her is, what does standing silent mean? Why was he standing silent during his plea? I'm going to ask her that really quick. Let's take a listen to this. It's really nice to have lawyer friends. You know what I'm saying? It's really nice to have lawyer friends. Let's continue. And of course, you know, she will be on with us later on today. Unfortunately, she doesn't want to lose her spot, which I totally understand. And she is not media technically. So she, of course, can't do a whole lot, but we're going to get as much as we can later on in a few hours, which I do appreciate nonetheless. Let's take a listen to hear what JB and them have to say real quick while I ask her a question.
That's standard, folks. As far as hearings to dictate whether or not, you know, who gets evidence and how evidence is received, and sometimes the timeline. There's so many little things that go into motion hearings when it comes to the discovery process for evidence. But again, the perfect person to ask is Peter Tragos, just waiting for him to hop on. I wonder if he's on the golf course. Knowing Peter, maybe he might be joining us from a golf course. Knowing him, he's a good guy. So let's go over some of the questions in the meantime as we wait for Peter to hop back on stream. Yari says, #KJB, is it possible for one person to go through 1 terabyte? Sure. Oh yeah, 1 terabyte, and it depends. So 1 terabyte of data could mean so many different things. To your point, it could be documents, it could be pictures. It could be video, and also too
could be audio.
Could be audio.
Audio is going to take
voicemails.
up more, absolutely. Voicemails, text messages, everything.
And I know in dealing with so much video, that compression is a huge deal. Sometimes videos get compressed for things like storage on the cloud or storage on a device. Sometimes videos uncompressed and it's much, much larger. So 51 terabytes doesn't tell us all that much. Okay, the pool feed is being queued up. Let's listen in here. This is officially now, I want to make sure that we have this right. This is now a replay. This is the pool camera footage being transmitted out to stations across the country. So they have queued it up. They are about to play it, and we're going to hear it here live on stream for the first time. But again, this is a replay from approximately 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, I'm wondering where he got that.
What they're doing now is they're beginning on this first frame. They are alerting stations across the country to get ready to receive this video. This is how pool camera situations work. It's queued up. It's kind of ready to go. And then they will hit play once they get the green light. During this, what we're going to do is Walt and I and guests we will remain quiet. We will listen in. I'll try to boost up the audio as much as possible here in the Stream Center so we could hear as much as possible. And then afterwards, we're going to break down some of your observations, some of your questions. We'll be looking for hashtag HeyJB, hashtag HeyWalt in the YouTube comment section. So the video now is being queued up. They've now gone to the closed door. So what we're going to see is Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger enter the courtroom. We're going to see Judge read out the indictment.
All of this stuff. But I will say this really quick. What are we doing? Frame by frame? Come on, man. We going frame by frame? For real though. And there's the door closing. And then the next one will be the door kind of opening. And then it will be another frame of the door kind of opening again. And this will be every like 5 minutes. This is like old school.
And
like
we're waiting for, again, the pool camera team. They are alerting all stations.
Hamburger. Well, I got some more details while we wait.
We also have a backup feed in the event that this one goes out.
I think this one's going to go out, bruh.
Again, this is the...
But I'm wondering...
For those of you just joining us, the indictment of Bryan Kohberger.
Okay.
The suspect, the lone suspect in the murders of 4 University of Idaho students in November of last year.
He's killing time. Okay, so let me just do this. Okay, so we're still waiting on this. It's like old school, like getting the facts page by page. It takes 15 minutes a page, man. It's crazy, man. Back in the 70s, man. It's almost like that. But I don't know what's going on here. We're gonna wait. I was actually trying to find it to see where we can find it. Okay. We do have some more information here from Andrea. We are going to look at that in just a minute. Here is Bryan Kohberger. Wow. Just waddling. Look at him with this waddling ass.
All rise. Thank you very much. Please be seated.
Here we go.
Good morning, everybody.
He gained a little bit of weight, tiny bit.
We have some people on Zoom here too, so we're going to hide it. Okay, let's get on the record, please. Thank you. Okay, we are now on the record in State of Idaho versus Bryan C. Kohberger, CR 29222803. Mr. Kohberger is in the courtroom along with his attorney, Ms. Taylor. I believe also part of the team is Jay Bronston and Elisa Massa, who is participating by Zoom, I believe. The state is represented by Mr. Thompson, Lake County Prosecutor's Office, or Prosecuting Attorney. Ms. Jennings is of that office too, Lake County Prosecutor's Office. Also part of that team is Ingrid Beatty and Jeff Nye, both from the Idaho Attorney General's Office. I'm John Judge. If you don't know me, I'm a Lake County District Judge, and I'll be presiding over this case. So, Mr. Kohberger, you've already heard a lot of what I'm going to tell you at your initial appearance, but I'll repeat it to you because it's important, and I want to remind you of these issues. So I'll briefly cover your rights, the charges against you, and the maximum penalties if you are found guilty or if you plead guilty. I'm going to start with the rights. You have a constitutional right to have an attorney represent you throughout these proceedings. If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, then one is appointed at public expense. Ms. Taylor and her team have already been appointed, so that's taken care of. You have a right to a speedy and public jury trial where the state would be required to prove every element of each charge against you beyond a reasonable doubt. At that trial, you would have the right to cross-examine the witnesses called against you. That means to see, hear, and question them, to call witnesses to testify for you, and if you choose to testify in your own defense. But you're not required to testify because you also have a right of silence. That right is protected under the Idaho and federal constitutions, so you can remain silent throughout these court proceedings, and that can't be held against you. What you do need to remember, though, is that anything you do say, other than to your lawyers, could be used against you in a later court proceeding. You understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, thank you. You also have a right to appeal any final decision of the court. In order to exercise that right, you need to file a notice of appeal within 42 days of that final decision, or that right is waived. Also, if you are not a United States citizen, any finding of guilt in this state could have adverse consequences to your legal status. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
Any questions about the rights?
No.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kohberger. So let's go to the indictment. You have a copy of the indictment in front of you?
Yes.
Thank you. And you see in the heading your name there. Is that your correctly spelled complete name?
Yes, it is.
Is that the correct birth date underneath your name?
Yes.
Are those the correct last 4 digits of your social security number?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, I'm going to read you the charges on the indictment, starting with count 1, burglary. That is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-1401 and 1403. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did unlawfully enter a residence located at 1122 King Road, Moscow, with the intent to commit the felony crime of murder. Count 2, murder in the first degree. That was a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Madison Mogan, a human being, by stabbing Madison Mogan, from which she died. Count 3, murder in the first degree, a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Kayla Gonsalves, a human being, by stabbing Kayla Gonsalves, from which she died.
Kaylee, but okay.
Count 4, murder in the first degree. That's a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. Alleging that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Zayna Kernodal. Excuse me. This is hard. I'm sorry. Zayna Kernodal, a human being, by stabbing Zayna Kernodal, from which she died.
Hamburger.
Count 5, murder in the first degree. This is a felony under Idaho Code Section 18-4001, 4002, 4003, and 4004. This alleges that you, on or about November 13, 2022, in Latah County, state of Idaho, did willfully, unlawfully, deliberately, with premeditation, and with malice aforethought, kill and murder Ethan Chapin, a human being, by stabbing Ethan Chapin, from which he died. This is signed on May 16, 2023, by the presiding grand jury. So now I'm going to go to the maximum penalties of each charge, starting with count 1, burglary, minimum 1 year, in up to 10 years in imprisonment, fine of up to $50,000 or both fine and imprisonment.
Yes, wise.
Restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime.
It is.
For counts 2, 3, 4, and 5, murder in the first degree, maximum penalties, life in prison, or the death penalty.
Yeah.
Fine of up to $50,000, or both fine and life in prison or the death penalty. Restitution for the victim's economic losses resulting from the crime. Also, additional fine.
It doesn't make any
up
sense.
to $5,000 to be paid directly to the victim's families. If you are found guilty or plead guilty on each charge, and the maximum sentences are imposed consecutively, that means one right after the other, you could be facing 10 years in prison, followed by 4 consecutive life sentences or death penalties, fines of up to $200,000 and $20,000 to be paid directly to the families with any restitution resulting from the crimes.
Nice.
Okay. Mr. Kohberger, do you understand the charge in count 1?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 2, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 3, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 4, murder in the first degree?
Yes.
Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Do you understand the charge in count 5, murder in the
Yes.
first degree? Do you understand the maximum penalty?
Yes.
Okay, Ms. Taylor, is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will be standing silent.
Okay, because Mr. Kohberger
Standing
is
silent.
standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas.
That doesn't make sense.
Each charge counts 1,
That doesn't make
2,
any
3,
sense.
4, and 5.
What
Now, at
the?
this juncture, the state has 60 days to give notice of intention to seek the death penalty.
Hamburger.
And Mr. Kohberger has a constitutional and statutory right to a speedy trial. So let's start with you, Ms. Taylor, and then Mr. Thompson to discuss scheduling.
Your Honor, we'd ask the court to set this trial at the very outside of the speedy trial, right? We're not prepared to do anything but ask the court to do that today.
Okay. Have we counted out when that will be? November?
I have not counted it out, Your Honor, but I believe that would be about November 22nd is when the speedy will run. Maybe November 20th. So I'd ask the court to set it for an October trial date.
How long do you think it will take to try the case?
My best guess is it would take at least 4 weeks, maybe 6.
So you'd like me to set this for a 6-week trial?
At this point, I would, Your Honor.
Well, and in order to do so, I will have to the 3 trials I have, but this is more critical and more important. So, Mr. Thompson, what's your
Those trial dates are workable for the state judge.
thank you. About October 2nd, starting. Okay, for 6 weeks.
Yes, sir.
That's crazy.
Anything else we need to address today, Ms. Taylor?
Not with regard to the trial study.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Thompson?
Nothing to say at this time, no.
All right. So with that, by the way, I do want to let everybody know, if they don't already know this, that once the grand jury issued the indictment, preliminary hearing scheduled to start on June 26th was no longer needed and was vacated. So some people are confused about that. So I thank counsel and the media and the public for your attention and respect. So we are adjourned. Thank you.
And boom goes the dynamite, everybody. And boom goes the dynamite.
Bryan Kohberger electing to stand silent, and the judge entering a plea of not guilty on the 5 charges, 4 for first-degree murder, an additional charge for burglary as well. JB Buno, WFLA senior investigator Walt Buteau here with you live in the WFLA Now Stream Center. We're really going to hone in now on your reaction, folks, your comments. We use our hashtag system here in the Stream Center. So if you use hashtag.
Yeah, I'm still surprised, to be completely honest. I am absolutely surprised because I was expecting something. Well, not surprised by him. I'm not surprised that the plea is not guilty. The plea is not guilty. I get that. I'm surprised about him standing silent. That's the part that doesn't make any sense to me. That's the part that I find a bit odd. Okay? It is very, very weird. Okay? I still don't get it. Okay? I don't get that. The standing silent, isn't that kind of passive aggressively saying you did? I don't know. Something weird about this just doesn't make sense to me, guys. I've never seen a standing silent thing before. Usually they say innocent, I'm innocent, or not guilty, or they go, Your Honor, we're putting in a plea of guilty, right? And then they move on. But now he's standing silent. He's not even saying anything. He didn't say anything. Why? It seems a bit weird. Okay. So some information that I have, because I want to read you guys the things that I've been getting from Andrea. Okay. And then we might be getting some friends coming into the show to put in their 2 cents about everything that has been transpiring and everything. And of course, when I asked her, of course, I asked her what was the vibe and all that, like what was going on, what is she seeing in the courtroom during the time of what we just saw here. Okay, so let me give you guys a little bit of information that Andrea gave us. Okay, so she said, well, we already talked about the baby crying, and that I'm assuming that's Kaylee's sister's baby that was crying in the background, or not crying but gurgling. Okay, making gurgling noises and just being a baby. Okay, but then I said, what does it mean to stand silent while making a plea? She says, it just means that rather than explicitly saying guilty or not guilty, he doesn't say anything, and a not guilty plea is entered for him. Not uncommon to do when you have the option, but still interesting. I might have expected him to say the words not guilty. And that's exactly what I'm trying to say. If he's sitting here saying, I'm innocent, I didn't do anything, I'm innocent, why didn't he say not guilty? Why did he stand silent? Is that an admission of guilt? And he's just gonna roll the dice and see if he can get snake eyes during this trial? Hope he gets the luck of the draw during this trial. Hopefully his team, his defense can lean and really use reasonable doubt through this thing. That's the piece that doesn't make any sense to me, babies. That's the piece that doesn't make any sense. That's weird. Okay? And even Andrea said that. She said I was expecting him to say not guilty, and he's not. That's weird. Okay, so I'm not crazy. I'm going to repeat what she said, though. It means rather than explicitly saying guilty or not guilty, he doesn't say anything, and a not guilty plea is entered in for him. Not uncommon to do when you have that option, but still interesting. I might have expected him to want to say the words not guilty, and he didn't. That's a little bit weird. At least that's how I see it as well. I find that a bit weird. You have an opportunity to speak out and say, I didn't do it. I'm innocent. And he didn't do that. That's weird. Also, she said this too, and we already heard this, and I didn't like that at all. But also Judge, which that was Judge, okay? He was struggling saying Xana's name. It took him 4 or 5 times to get it out. Afterwards, someone from her family was a bit upset about it and felt it was disrespectful. Now, one thing I want to say, let me just say this really quick. This has been a trial. This is going to be the trial of the century, trial of the year, whatever you want to call it, okay? Everybody in that town knows about all the 4. You're telling me you not once Judge not once heard their names, or at least turned to somebody and said, hey, how do you say her name? Just so I have it correct, because you have family of the deceased in the house, and you're still not saying her name correctly. He was butchering the hell out of her name and Kaylee's name too. He was calling her Kayla. She ain't no Kayla, she Kaylee. And I'm going, damn, what the hell? Judge supposed to be knowing this trial, knowing this case. And in my personal opinion, their names were not that crazy with like a buttload of vowels and stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like some heavily foreign ethnic name that he couldn't pronounce correctly. And he couldn't even say that. That was weird to me, guys. I will say that, okay? But of course, I was just about to say that, but David just said it. It's a little different when cameras are on too. Maybe there's nerves. Maybe nerves were involved in that too, but still, damn, yo, that was sloppy, okay? That's what I think. That's what I think. And sure, Roberta just said this. The judge is nervous. Give him a break. Your family subscribers probably wants to call in now. Nope, not opening up phone lines. Sorry, guys. Okay, not yet. We got hours. Okay, we got a long time to go. So we'll not be doing call-ins until maybe way later in the show. Okay, but still, moving on, because I got some more stuff from Andrea. Okay, so yeah, she was like, that's a bit weird that they couldn't pronounce Xana's name correctly, couldn't say Xana Kernodle's name correctly. That's a bit odd. Okay. But she did also say this too. We improved our seating for the next hearings. Don't know if Bryan will be attending them. Yeah, I don't know if Bryan will be in the house for those as well, but still, no matter what, it's nice to have a boots on the ground, boots in the area of everything that's going down here. I'm very excited about it. Yay, really, I am. Because now we're getting the information, we're seeing things, and we're getting firsthand accounts from very credible people, in my personal opinion. Some incredible people. You know, we got Andrea in there, and we got Bryan Enton in the house as well, which I think is really, really dope. And of course, he just said now that the arraignment video is on News Nation now, but we just watched it already. I may play it again a little bit later for those of y'all who may have missed it. But for right now, this is what we got so far. And the thing is again, Judge Scott 05 said Judge has been judged accordingly. Yeah, come on, man. You think about it. You are in that room. People have been talking about the whole thing, this whole tragedy since November. Okay. People became obsessed with it late November, early December. When he finally got caught, people became even more emotionally attached to this, even more emotionally into this. Everybody know where they live, what they did, what their favorite sports were, what their favorite food is. We're all emotionally attached to this. And I'm saying, even so, outside of all that, if you were the parent, okay, I get it that the judge is nervous. That's fine. He did say, I'm sorry, this is hard for me. Sure, it might have been the cameras, or it might have just been him emotionally distraught by this case. That could be it too. But, you know, I can see how parents might feel. The parents of these victims, families of these victims would feel some type of way. Doesn't mean that they're the bad guy. Doesn't mean that Judge is a bad guy. It just means he might want to take a minute to really know how to pronounce their names correctly from this point on. Okay. Just saying, we're not trying to dig a ditch for him and throw him in the hole. Okay. We ain't trying to do that, but at the same time, hopefully he learns from this and comes back a little bit more prepared, at least on the names, you know? So that's it. Okay. Yeah, he did basically say, I'm sorry. This is hard for me. I don't know if he was saying this is hard for me because cameras are there, or because of the heaviness of the story, okay, or of this trial. But he definitely was saying, okay, I'm sorry. This one's tough. Okay, and I understand that he might be emotionally attached to this as well, and then cameras could have augmented the nervousness. That could be it too, definitely. But you know. Focus on the task at hand, right? Focus on the task at hand. Now, of course, I am waiting on a couple things because I got some people that I am actually waiting on that will hopefully be here soon. Okay. Jennifer Coffindaffer said this in a tweet, and I know she's on WFLA right now. But she said in a tweet, which I'm going to pull up here. Guys, please do me a favor. Be sure to hit that like button down below. Crush it. Send it all the way up. That would really mean a lot. And of course, do not forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Okay, and let me put that banner in there, subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. That'll be greatly appreciated. Okay. I will be playing the arraignment again for those of y'all who missed the arraignment. I will be playing that again just for you guys. So sit tight, stick around. I will be playing that again for those of y'all who have missed that. But Jennifer Coffindaffer said this. about 6 minutes ago. So Bryan Kohberger stood in silence at the time to enter a plea. He is certainly entitled to stand silent, but I see this as a control move. No one is going to tell me to enter a verdict, is how it came across to me. Okay, I'm just reading this together, just live, cold. There is no legal advantage. He knows silence means a not guilty plea will be entered on his behalf by remaining silent. So she basically saying, no one's going to tell me to enter a verdict, is how it came across to me. That is very interesting. And we do have an update. Jennifer Coffindaffer will be gracing us with her presence a little bit later on, or in a little while, here on the show. She will be on with us to, hopefully, we have been corresponding, so hopefully she will be on to chop it up with us about this as well. And I do find that a bit weird too. And it's, again, we heard Andrea put in her 2 cents about this, where she basically said, hey, you know, that is a bit odd. I'm not used to hearing, you know, I was expecting him to just say out loud, not guilty. Remember the other time he came into court, he said out loud, not guilty. He said it with his own mouth. He said it with his own mouth. He said, not guilty that time. He put in a plea, not guilty plea. And then this one, he just sat there silent. Why? Was it because of the grand jury proceedings? Was there something that happened behind closed doors in that secret grand jury proceeding? Then now he's like, I ain't saying nothing. Y'all already know that I'm innocent. Or I ain't saying nothing. I'm going to roll the dice and see what happens. So I'm not going to say nothing. By me staying silent, it's me saying not guilty. I don't know, but it is a bit weird. Okay. Lisa just said, yeah, he's about the game. Yeah, he might be. He might be. And yes, he is looking at the DP. He's looking at life in prison or the DP. Okay. At least according to reports from Bryan Enton. And of course, from what we heard in that his arraignment. But I'll repeat that again. Hold up. That's interesting. So Bryan Enton did put out a post. Let me grab that real quick. Let me show this to you guys as well. He's saying, well, one, he said, of course, the video's on News Nation right now, which we will be playing again during a lull. All right. Hearing related to Bryan Kohberger, gag order is about to start. So that's starting. Yeah, it should have already started. Okay. I'm sure it has begun already. And then says, he said 24 seconds ago, he said, can't stop thinking about Olivia's baby in court. The message it sent. Interesting, because Andrea said the same thing, like hearing the baby gurgle and make the baby noises and all that stuff kind of brought some humanity into the room a little bit. It brought a different kind of energy in the room. But that's very interesting too. And the fact that he was affected by it as well says a lot as well. But yeah, that's pretty interesting stuff. So right now, the gag order, okay? The gag order trial is about to happen, or is happening now. I'm not thinking that is going to be a very long one as well, but it is going to be going on. It's going on right now as we speak. And then after that, it's the one at 11 o'clock Pacific time, the motion to compel. And that has to do with with everything. It has to do with all the evidence, etc. as well. So we are going to be here for a little bit, talking about all this stuff. Okay. But pretty crazy stuff. Interesting turn of events. I still can't get my mind off of the standing silent. I just find that very weird. I find that extremely weird. But let me make sure that they have it here. You said it's up on News Nation, so let me see if it's actually true. Yeah, I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see it. Let me see if it's... Well, let me see. It's not really like the whole video itself. It's not the whole arraignment. Like there's clips of it on Twitter right now, but not the whole doggone thing. Let me see. Yeah, that's weird. But anyway, let me as I'm looking this up, let me play a little bit more of this as well.
In asking these questions,
Right.
But will the judge allow us on lunch break to transmit the first half of the day, and then after court is adjourned for the day, then transmit the second half of the day?
There are courts that will not allow you to take things quote unquote out of context. And if that's the case, they may very well want it all to be distributed at once as opposed to bits and pieces getting out. I don't know, but I've definitely experienced that before in other jurisdictions. And maybe the law will change. Maybe there'll be a demand in Idaho. They did just change. I don't know, ironically, or they just change. They just authorized the firing squad in Idaho.
Reason being is because there have been holdups in several states regarding the chemicals, the means necessary to do lethal injection. That there has been some difficulties in obtaining the means to carry out lethal injection. So giving the state the other option of a firing squad, that's reality right now in Idaho. Really quickly, C. Glenn hashtags for myself and Jennifer. I'm going to go to you because this one has a hashtag for you. Might standing silent indicate willingness to accept a plea deal?
Well, that's what I was alluding to earlier. I think it is a control deal unless this is alluding to that.
Interesting.
It's a possibility. I think if the state moves to notice the court to put the death penalty on the table, which I think they will, I think, it's a whole different conversation, and he's waiting to see that as well.
How about this question from Nicole? Very interesting. Hashtag KJB. I think he wanted to hear someone else say that he is not guilty. An interesting way of thinking about, there was a calculated decision behind standing silent and why someone might, again, LawTube. I know that some of the great names on LawTube are going to be analyzing this for hours or days. But the decision itself to not say the words "not guilty," and perhaps wanting to hear someone else, whether it's your legal representation, your attorney saying it, or the judge, who's the most authoritative figure in the room, saying the words "not guilty." Is there a mental sort of
interesting thought?
I'm not
and
sure.
Talk about control. I mean, you're making the judge say you're not guilty.
Folks, we're going to be following along here too. I'm trying to get an update about. Oh, I want to read this. This is interesting from Brian Enton. Can't stop thinking about Olivia's baby in court. The message that it sent. That's just a very honest. That's why I like working with Brian. Is Brian's not he's gonna share his observations in addition to stating the fact of record. but a statement from Kaylee.
I was going to say
Gonzalez's
we got a
family.
statement from Kaylee Gonzalez's family, which I'm going to share with you guys right now, because of course he's going to tell it his way. But that's funny that I just saw it as he saw it. But real quick, Kaylee Gonzalez's family did say something, but hey, like I said, the gag order, it's not going to stop them from talking. It's not going to stop them from saying what they want to say, right? But according to Brian Enton, let me share this with you guys. See, statement from Kaylee Gonzalez's family. So the family would like to thank everyone for continuing to follow this case and keep the memories of Kaylee, Maddie, Xana, and Ethan alive. They are what is important, not the defendant. We are thankful that the Latah County District Attorney's Office finally took the cause to a grand jury and came back with an indictment. At the same time, we are disappointed that the judicial process has not been more efficient in addressing the gag order. This is just the beginning of a long journey for all the families, and we are thankful for your continued support and coverage. Now, one thing I do wonder about this gag order, right? As they said at the time, we are disappointed that the judicial process has not been more efficient in addressing the gag order. Well, that's what they're in that room for, right? They're in that room to see if they can get it so that they can move on. They can lift it, do whatever, right? Drop the gag order, or if there's going to be even more of a tighter grip, more added things into the gag order, right? So I'm wondering what's going to happen here when it comes to this actual conference on the gag order. And of course, they're doing that right now. They're in the middle of doing that piece right now as we speak, unless it is over already, which I don't know. Okay. Which I don't even know if they're done with it. I don't know if they're done with it already or not. But given the fact that they have said this is very interesting. Okay. That is very, very interesting. Okay. But again, Kaylee Gonzalez's family did make a statement, which of course is absolutely, I'm sure everybody appreciates this, right? And of course they say they are important. They are what is important, not the defendant. They are the ones that we should be focusing on, not Bryan Kohberger. And I agreed with that, of course, 110%. But I also will say the reason why we're focused on BK, Coco, is because we want to see him get buried. We want to see him crash and burn, and we want to see him found guilty with all charges. And I know a good portion of the world wants to see the DP, wants to see a firing squad and all that stuff. So, and of course, this is, and, once again, this is still innocent until proven guilty. And if he is the one who did it, which I think he really is the one who did it, it's still fascinating, and it still makes you want to know what happened here. How did this go down? Okay. How did this go down? How did he do this? Did he really do this alone? Or did he have partners? And of course, the other stuff with all the theories and all that have been running rampant as well. Okay. Is it the trap house? Were they selling things in the house? Were kids going over there to go get, high and all that in the crib or not? Well, a lot of us, not me, but there's a lot of us that are still wondering that question. A lot of us are still got that burning question all up inside of all of us, trying to figure out what the heck happened here and why did it happen? And if any of these stories that are being told out here in these streets are just absolute exaggerations because of bored, idle minds, or if this stuff is actually true. And the only person that can actually hold the answer to that at least that we know of, is BK. And maybe Bethany, and maybe Dylan. But of course, we're going to have to wait and see that. Okay. And James Joseph said, give it time. Yeah, I mean, give it time. We got, what is it? October is how many months from now? I can't do the math for some weird reason. Somebody do the math for me. How many months is that? Is that 6 months from now? Is that? That's not 6 months from now. It's like 4 or 5 months from now. So very interesting, guys. Very interesting information that we have so far. Let's continue. I'm going to see if News Nation actually has it up. They don't have it up, y'all. I don't see it anywhere. I was hoping to see something, but we haven't seen not a damn thing from them. So as far as that, we're going to have to wait on the arraignment. I will play that again for you guys for sure. I promise you that. Okay. But yes, Kohberger is back in the house. He is back in the room. So he's going to be in every single one. Oh, and Sugar Butt Starburst, just so you know, we did play it from WFLA, but I was hoping to see one that is just by itself. But I will check WFLA as well to see if they have their own standalone upload of it as well. Okay. But Kohberger, just so you guys know, but thank you so much, Sugar Butt. Appreciate it. Kohberger is back in the courtroom for the gag order hearing. So one thing that we didn't know is if he's going to be there for every single piece of the day. So he isn't, if they are still using this, he has a very busy morning. So he had the arraignment. Now it's the gag order. Then next it will be the motion to compel. So my assumption is he's going to be in that place as well. Okay. But let me play a little bit of WFLA for the time being. I got to send some messages and see if we can get some correspondence from inside the courtroom right now.
Isn't violated.
But you're also a defendant also has a right to a fair trial, and that can be violated.
So,
I would have to argue of the two, even though I'm a journalist, the right to a fair trial is far more important than our right to information.
And that's why I find it interesting that does law have to catch up with the times and the technological ability now for people around the world. We have people that are joining us on YouTube right now that are joining us from quite literally multiple continents, and people that can consume information in real time and vocalize their opinions and thoughts and observations and feedback on the legal process all in real time. That was never possible ever before in human history, that in real time you can follow someone's legal fate. You can follow the fate of Bryan Kohberger. Actually, in Idaho, you can't because you can't stream the video. But I mean, if this case, just like Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, you could follow every time that something happened in the courtroom. It wasn't just the people in the courtroom that were reacting to it. It was everybody around the world that were watching it in real time. So perhaps there needs to be more of a conversation in this country about how the legal process in high profile cases especially is protected, but also that constitutional law isn't violated when it comes to us being reporters, the media having access to what is happening so that we can document history. All right, that's enough of that. I promise. Let's go back to some of the comments that are coming in, and somebody. Okay, so Brian Enton.
All right. Let me. Nothing so far, but I'm gonna let that play a little bit. I'm gonna let that play a tiny bit. So I asked Andrea if there was any information as far as like what's going on in the courtroom right now over the gag order and all that. So she is able to actually correspond with me, which is great freaking news. She said, yes, the gag order is going on now. They're having tech problems with lawyers appearing by Zoom. So nothing yet, but a lot of, can you hear me now? LOL. That's hilarious. Okay. So they're still dealing with whatever BS they're dealing with that. And hopefully they get their technical difficulties on point here. But that is very, very interesting. Let me see if there's any updates from anything being said from Bryan Enton. Oh, and then she also said Bryan Kohberger is in the room, is in the house as well. But let me see if there's any updates here. Nope. So far, nothing. So far, nothing. Which is totally fine because they're still dealing with a lot of can you hear me now kind of BS and all that. Okay. Yeah, as far as Dolphin 57 just said, what is Banfield incapacitated? No, I think she does her evening show. So she's probably busy getting ready to do a whole coverage of all this for her night show. So that's why I don't think you're seeing Banfield out here talking about all this yet. She's still kind of chilling in the cut, I think, getting all the information so that when she does her live, when she does her show, then she's giving everybody a breakdown. Oh, I see. Okay. You were just joking. Ha! Anyway, moving on. Screaming Palm. This country embraces and promotes violence, and people wonder why this happens. Violence is the cornerstone of our foreign policy. It is tradition. You ain't wrong with that. Okay. You ain't wrong with that at all. Now, a quick yes, Jeff Hastings. Again, I just tweeted this after it broke, and so please, guys, go follow me on Twitter as well. I've been using Twitter a lot more recently. It seems like there's I didn't realize, but Twitter. There's a huge community over there. I didn't realize it like that, so I've been using Twitter a lot more. Please follow me at The Pascal Show. Please follow me at The Pascal Show. One word. Okay. But I've been putting up a lot of updates, especially whenever I upload a new video or whenever I'm going live. I've been letting you guys know about all the updates and information that are going on with every story that I've been covering as of late. In fact, apparently there's some new information about Jesse McFadden as well. Okay. And we gonna be doing some updates on the Jesse McFadden slumber party massacre thing as well. Let's see. Leo, thank you so much for the comment. Pascal, do you think KB maybe stayed silent? Plea deal, maybe? If there's a plea deal? Now, I know that Jennifer Coffindaffer kind of like tapped on this a little bit. If there is an actual plea deal, then he should be saying guilty then, right? Or he's saying he's standing silent so he gets the opportunity for a plea deal. Maybe that's it too. But that would be some interesting stuff. That'd be some very interesting info if that were the case. Okay. But again, I didn't address this, so sorry. Jeff Hastings, yes. The new court date will be October 2nd at 8:30 a.m. We will most likely, God willing, we will most likely be watching that as a family if there's going to be media coverage, boots on the ground out there. Hopefully by that time, if we have my good friend Andrea or any other people that are involved over there, I will see if I can make sure to get some sort of media credentials and stuff like that so that they can be more proactive in there. Because unfortunately, this might be the situation like this the entire time, which sucks. I wish we could have cameras on during all these trials. That would be so helpful. for all of us that actually, for all the cases that we give a damn about, right? But I will say this, Leo, that's a very good question. I will be talking about that or bringing up that question when we do have our friends come onto the show and talk about this, because I do have some friends coming on in a little while. Okay. Anita said Australia is slowly going the same way. I hate to hear that, but I feel like it's every country right now. I'm starting to see mass tragedies in Mexico with, drug cartels going, aiming at each other back and forth, and civilians just getting hit in the middle of these firefights that are going on. It's very, very bad, guys. Okay. It is very, very bad. Anonymous said, it also means, I'm going through some of your comments, and so please at me, like at the Pascal show or at Pascal in the chat. If you're doing this on Twitter, please, at the Pascal show, and I will pull them up. Okay. If you're on Twitter and all that too. Okay. I'll make sure that your comments are being read out loud. And also I'll say this too, super chats are absolutely wonderfully appreciated, and of course those will be read with absolute ease and the quickness as well. And I do have a couple super chats which I'll get to here in just a minute. But Anonymous said it also means he doesn't recognize or represent the fictional corporate identity the court wants him to assume his name in all capital letters on legal documents, for example. Interesting. Well, that's very complicated. That's a very complicated way of thinking things, I guess. But that's interesting. That would be a conversation behind closed doors, and BK would have to admit something for a plea deal to happen. Absolutely. I mean, there would have to be some sort of hookup. He can't just go in there and go, let me get that plea deal, though. I didn't do it, but let me get that plea deal. But I'm not giving you nothing. Just give me that plea deal. Nah, they're going to sit there and go, no, man. You give us something, we give you something. You scratch our back, we scratch yours. It's a full-on trade here, guys. You can't just go in there all willy-nilly and hope that he just gets a plea deal just because he looks good in orange, which he doesn't, but you know what I'm saying. Okay. Amanda said BK playing games. Ooh, quit playing games with my heart. That's really messed up though. Okay. I see, I thumbs down with that too. Playing games, bro. Thumbs down. I give it 2 big thumbs down. Okay. Let me get some of these super chats real quick. Megan, thank you so much for the 5. Love your show. Thanks for keeping it real. I appreciate it. Thank you. There's only one way I can be real. That's the only way I can keep it is real. That's what I was trying to say. S Dubs, thank you so much for the 5. Good morning. Can you please go back over today's timeline, redefine what it means to stand in silence? Thank you, S Dubs. I will do that. Okay. Real quick, I will. All right. But I will. Just give me 2 seconds. Let me get some of these comments here. 1 second here. Okay. Wow. She said, wow. Okay, so wow. Andrea just said this. We're right behind him. Just security between us and him. So she's literally right behind him, smelling his prison musk right now. That's what Andrea's doing right now. She's smelling that aftershave, that toilet fermented aftershave right now. That's pretty cool. Well, or pretty interesting. Okay. So she got some really good seats, allegedly. Okay. Let's see. Oh, okay. Okay. I got some information I'm going to get to here in just a moment. Okay, thank you, Emma, for letting me know that. I'm not going to read that out loud, but thank you. Aaron on Twitter said, I don't know. I'm going to stay positive. The fact that they took it before the grand jury says a lot. I personally think October will stick. I'm hopeful. I heard that. And these are all at the Pascal Show. I appreciate it. Diane also said on Twitter, I think, at the Pascal Show, I think it will drag out much longer, but then she did a shoulder shrugging emoji like, well, but who knows? There's a lot of possibilities here, guys. There's a lot of possibilities. And the thing is, yeah, they say October right now, and it may not be that. It really may not be that. Okay. Should I ask her, what does he smell like? What does he smell like? No, I'm not interested, bruh. Nah, he probably smells like an old, like a retirement home. He probably marinating in his own funk. Just nasty. You know what I'm saying? Just nasty. All right. Anonymous said, you don't understand corporate law terms, and these courts operate under them. He's a law student. Perhaps he understands this. I agree it won't work, but it makes things more difficult for the courts. Yeah, I mean, he does know his thing, right? He does know a little bit about the legals. He was getting his PhD in criminology, for crying out loud. So he knows a little bit about law. Listen, when he got pulled over, perfect example is when he got pulled over, y'all. When he got pulled over and he was sitting there going, well, I grew up in a rural area, and I just didn't know what I had to do when it came to the crosswalk. And is there any laws that show, local laws that show what I need to do and what I shouldn't be doing? Do you mind checking that out? He was using that information to talk his way out of the traffic ticket that he was about to get. And then as soon as he said, oh, I'm from a rural town and I just didn't know what I could and couldn't do, she's like, oh, well, he seems like a good guy. And then she looked the stuff up and walked over, said, here's the information. I'm gonna let you go this time, but just so you know. And he walked. So clearly he knows how to finesse a little bit of the system. Let's keep it real. Okay? And it could have honestly been an honest question, but his honest question had some weight to it because it ended up him getting away without getting that moving violation that he was supposed to be getting, that traffic violation he was supposed to be getting. But he's like, oh, yeah, I came from a rural town. I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. You saw, as you didn't see me, as I was sitting there, I just didn't know. I was stuck. As it was turning red, it was yellow, but I turned when it was yellow. You didn't see that? Come on. He's like, well, actually, technically, pushing up his imaginary glasses, paging through his book of legals. Come on, man. All right. So I'm sure right now he knows his fair share. And also, you got to remember, he's been locked up for months. He's got time to do studies. He's got time to read books and talk to lawyers and talk to his lawyer and consume. Again, this is not a dumb guy. I mean, he's not a dumb guy. Like, he's book smart. That's what I'm trying to say. He book smart. He may not be street smart, but he's book smart. So I'm sure he knows his stuff, what he can and can't do. Think about it. Okay? I'm sorry. I'm glad I got you guys to chuckle a little bit, but at the same time, real talk, that's what he said. I didn't know. I was I live in a rural area. We don't have crosswalks. I just didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was stuck. I didn't know if I was supposed to go. You didn't see me turn? Come on. But yeah, you're right. Nicole Lovely. Okay, that's a new one. But Nicole, you can't finesse this one. Hell no, you can't. But by him saying, I ain't saying nothing, he might be fed up. Okay? Yeah, where we're going, we don't need roads. But yeah, he's literally said we don't have, he's like, we don't have roads like this. It's almost like he was saying we got like 2 stoplights in the entire town, and that's it. And I do agree. I will say this, Lisa. I do agree. Crosswalks are confusing, especially when you're stuck in that situation. It's like you can't back up. And if you drive forward, it's a weird situation. And he was in a weird place, but still, he still finessed his way out of that ticket using intellect. He did. On a technicality. He reigned supreme. He walked out victorious in that situation. But that proves positive that this guy, very cerebral. Okay? So there could be a thing where he knows what he can and can't do right now. He obviously is talking to his lawyer, and his lawyer doesn't suck. Let me repeat that again. His lawyer doesn't suck. She's not bad. She's actually a really good lawyer. So hearing her and then him, you know what I mean? Like this is not a lawyer who's just phoning it in. Going like, oh, him guilty, but I'm going to do it because, I got to, and I'm just going to go through the motions. No, this woman wants to win. Okay? This woman really, really wants to win. Okay? And she's doing everything she can to make that ish happen. All right? Let me see some of your comments. Some more of your comments here. Pandora's Karma just said, my town here in Greece, Sparta, doesn't have traffic lights. That's what's up. Wow. Lucky you, I guess. Do you have police? Do you have a hospital? Do you guys have cars? Or are you guys still moving around on chariots? Like Ben-Hur or something. I'm just curious. Damn. No traffic lights. That must be a dangerous drive. You know what I'm saying? Dagnab. So let's see if there's any more information here. If we gotten an update on okay. We got some more updates. Let's get into those as we continue. As we proceed to give you what you need, let's see what they say now. Let's see what Brian Enton says. He says, well, he retweeted the Idaho the hearing, okay, the arraignment, and obviously now it's he has a hearing set for October 2nd after judge entered not guilty plea on his behalf. Okay, so we already know about all that. We saw the arraignment. I'm waiting for to see if there's a full the whole arraignment uninterrupted somewhere. I'm trying to find it still as we go, but. Let's continue. Brian Enton 4 minutes ago, or actually just start with the 6 minutes ago. He said, Gonzalez family attorney wants the gag order issues resolved quickly, asking the judge to address it this week. Yeah, because the Gonzalez family wants to talk. They really, really, really want to talk. And I understand. I do understand it. But I do think that there's things that they can do and talk about without like with this gag order enacted. And let's keep it real. If you saw, let me say this really quick. If you saw the Dateline, did you see Dateline? That's what I want to know. If you saw Dateline special, they were all up in it. They were putting in their 2 cents and they were talking. They didn't stop. They talked. They didn't say like, oh, we can't talk about that. They said what they needed to say, and they will continue to do so. Now, I know that they can't go into great details about things because they are very much attached. And obviously, Stephen Gonzalez and the whole family knows a lot of information, more information than anyone else. Okay, than anyone else in this particular trial or in this particular case. But at the same time, if this gag order does not get lifted, it's not going to stop them from being able to get out there and speak on behalf of their family, speak on behalf of their daughter and their daughter's best friend. It won't stop them. I will say that. But let's continue. So, judge says because Media Coalition went to Supreme Court, it has slowed the process down. That's very interesting as well. So now they're saying a whole bunch of red tape, and because things have moved to a grander level to the Supreme Court, the process in which of them being able to have this addressed this week might be a little difficult, solely because of the media and the media's grubby ass hands. That's very fascinating, guys. That's very fascinating. Okay? Extremely fascinating. Oh, there's some more information from the Enton man. He says, hold on, let me see. Okay. 1, judge says AP/Media Coalition needs to tone down their challenge to the gag order. Then 37 seconds later, he said, or 37 seconds ago, he said, there are 2 different issues happening in court right now with the Kohberger gag order. Number 1, the Gonzalez attorney wants clarity so he can speak on behalf of his clients. So the attorney wants clarity so that he can talk. Okay. Number 2, the Media Coalition is fighting for more public information / less strict gag order. Okay. And we already know that they're fighting for less strict gag order, that they're fighting for so that they can talk, so that they can have more information, that we're not sitting here twiddling our thumbs and wondering what the hell is going on, that there's more transparency. But at the same time, sometimes that transparency does not work on our behalf. Sometimes that hurts us. And I hate to say that, but that is really what it is. Sometimes that's what it is. If you've seen all the information that has been leaking out like crazy, sometimes the stuff that has come out does not help the case. It hinders it. It makes it worse. The rumors that are going on the rumor mill, all that stuff, it gets worse and worse and worse, right? And it's never, ever good, in my personal opinion. Not that. Okay? But I do agree on the number 1, though. Because, yeah, there has been desperation, okay? Absolute desperation from the media. Let's keep it real, okay? All right? But I don't think that is going to help the trial. I don't. I really don't. But as far as the lawyer wants clarity so he can speak on behalf of his clients, I mean, I don't know what it. See, that's the thing. What is it? And of course, this is the pushback I would say on that is, what is the information, or what's the stuff that the lawyer needs to be all out in the videos for? What does he need to? Excuse me. What does he need to do? That's the part that I don't get. Why does he need to be out here to so that he can speak on behalf of his clients? That's just the piece that I don't get. Unless there's some big fat ass lie that's been circulating out here in these streets that they want to clarify, like they want to bring clarity to, fine. I get that piece. But other than that, really, I don't know. Like I said, I don't see how that, I just don't see how that will make things better. Okay. Susan Russo, thank you so much for the comment. Exactly. And their couple. Exactly. And their couple very well be a. Oh, okay. And their couple, I guess there better be. Oh, okay. So that sentence is weird. Exactly 100, and their couple very well be a killer out there still. Then how is everyone going to feel if you put a man on death row and leave the killer out on the streets? We don't know. Yeah, hopefully I'm reading that correctly. Yes, there's a lot of theories and a lot of speculations that have been flying out all over the place out here in these streets about, maybe that Bryan didn't do it alone. Maybe that there was 2 other people that were dealing drugs. I don't know. Okay. I don't know about all that. The police have not shown us any evidence, or they did not bring any evidence to the table that shows us otherwise. The only thing that we are getting that, or the only place that we are really getting that information, is from an anonymous faceless voices, okay, and video from from body cam footage, and then people like online sleuths doing the research. We have yet to hear anything about them being a part of this case or about a part of this investigation, and that's a part that I find a bit odd. I do. When I look at that information, it's like, okay, that's information, but could that just be someone diving too deep or trying to find something? Is it really true? Is the information that we're getting true or not? And I know some people get very upset with me when I talk about the faceless names, the faceless voices with names going on to other shows and all that. And like I said, I'm not knocking the people who get those interviews. By all means, do your thing. But I say tread lightly, because how do we know these are actually true people? That is it. There's a lot of people out here that are just wanting 15 seconds of fame in a weird, messed up way, or just want to add more to the narrative. We had a dude faking audio a couple months ago. Remember that dude? He ain't nowhere to be found now. Okay, because he got caught red-handed. Shout out to Ikid. Okay, but then then you had another person saying some crazy stuff about Dylan. Why did they make that stuff up? Doesn't make any sense. You see what I'm saying? Like, there's always something with this case. And the theories and the BS that just keeps trickling out is frustrating. Because it's like, does this serve the trial? Does this serve the investigation and the actual trial that will be coming up, hopefully soon? Okay. Because they say October, they could push this thing another 6 months. You never know. We can get to September and they go, no, we're pushing it another. You never know. We still aren't done going through 51 terabytes of footage on a hard drive or on hard drives. Okay. But there's been a lot of people mucking things up. And so when I see that, I'm going, okay, do we really want media to have all this access? Do we really want the gag order removed, lifted? I don't know. I don't know. I don't see how that will be beneficial. I just don't. Not yet, at least. Just the amount of craziness we've seen. Okay. That's just my thoughts. I will say that. That is just my thoughts. Let me get some... And of course, you can @ me on Twitter if you want to get a comment, or you can at me on the chat here as well, of course. Tony, you're absolutely right. People want to be connected in this case in any way possible, truth or not. Absolutely. Everybody feels like they are the new Sherlock Holmes, that they can, solve this case chilling in their apartment, eating Cheetos and hanging out, right? But at the same time, that's the sad part of it as well. People are then, because it becomes a desperation. It becomes an absolute desperation of wanting to be the person that breaks the case. And if you don't have the skills, or if you're not boots on the ground out there, I don't know how you can go in here saying, I don't know. I just don't know how you can go in here and go, Eureka, I have figured it out. It's tough, and don't get me wrong. Some sleuths out here are phenomenal. We've talked about them, and I've brought them onto the show millions of times. But then there's some people out here that are just making up stuff for the sake of making up stuff, and that can be disastrous, big time. Okay, let's continue. It says here, as of a minute ago, Brian Ensign said, judge is not making any decisions today on the Bryan Kohberger gag order. Hearing set for June 9th to address it. Also a hearing June 27th to address cameras in court. There you go. Because they got another one. They got another one they got to get to in about 2 doggone minutes. You realize that, right? Okay. They got another one. Okay. Let's see. I think Andrea may have said something. Let's see what she tweeted. So, wait, let me make sure she didn't say anything else. Judge is dressing down the AP after their briefing. Irreparable harm goes both ways. Advises them to tone it down. Let me make sure she didn't say anything else after that. So then she says motions to lift the gag order will be heard on June 9th. Briefs due June 2nd. Response due June 6th. Replies due June 8th. Okay. And then 6 minutes ago, she said the motions to compel will not be heard today. Oh, that's crazy. Holy crap. So they just moved what? So they just moved the other one, the motion to compel, on June 27th. Dag nab. I'm writing that down so I don't forget. June 27th. So she might be able to hop on here sooner rather than later. But they have moved the motion to compel to June 27th, y'all. Hamburger. Interesting. Let's hear what WFLA has to say. I'm going to reach out to her really quick.
Story has such intrigue. It will no doubt be a movie. There's going to be multiple books. I think there's already one underway. There is a thirst for information from people like Purple Freak Vape Queen. and
Hi, Twitter.
Right. There's she wants information. They want information. People want information. Yeah. And we want to give the information, and we want to do the best way possible. We want to beat the competition when it comes to getting the information. Those things collide, and there will be such a thirst for information about this case, especially not only in Idaho, in small Idaho, sparsely populated Idaho, but everywhere across the world for this case. So,
and as far as what that may mean about the gag order, Brian Enton tweeting out 11 minutes ago, there are 2 different issues happening in court right now with the Kohberger gag order. The Goncalves Goncalves attorney wants clarity so that he can speak on behalf of his clients. And the media coalition is fighting for more public information and less strict of a gag order. And then 3 minutes ago, Enton tweeting, the judge is not making any decisions today on the Kohberger gag order. Hearings set for June 9th to address it. Also, a hearing June 27th to address cameras in court.
But if it's a law that they, and most in more, even in court, even in states where where it's open, the judge can still say no cameras. And you know,
every now, you know, what's interesting, every now and again, a case comes around that changes policy.
Yeah.
And you have to wonder if this case, I mean, I understand that Idaho's had high profile cases.
I am trying to find out right now. S-dubs, if this means that the hearing that we're done as far as all the hearings for the day, because that is very interesting. And just so you guys know, I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm still trying to find out right now as we speak. But because I did send out a tweet or a DM to Andrea to see if that means, like, does that mean she's done and she's going to be coming out of there soon? And if that's the case, then we're going to be having a great conversation here very shortly. So I'm still waiting to find out if she is coming on or not, or I mean, if she's getting out sooner rather than later. I think this means that everything is done. Okay. Because again, she just said, and let me just, read that piece again. She said motions to compel will not be heard today. So that means, because obviously the motions to lift the gag order will be heard. Like he pushed it. He was like, no, we're going to push this. So the motions, they scheduled a time to do the gag order. Okay. The motions to lift this gag order. And that is not going to be happening until June 9th. So briefs will be done on the 2nd. Response will be done on the 6th. Replies will be done on the 8th. And then the actual hearing will be on the 9th of June. And then she said motions to compel will not be heard today. They'll be heard on June 27th. So clearly that means that they are about to be done with their day. Okay. They're about to be done. They're going to be wrapping it up. They're going to be wrapping it up here very, very soon. Okay. But of course, I'm hoping to have some very, very special guests on with us today to talk about things. Of course, we're waiting for Andrea to get out of the courtroom whenever that does happen. Okay. But I'm looking forward to hearing what she has to say about everything, being there, meeting, seeing Bryan Kohberger in the flesh, and even seeing Brian Enton in the house as well. That's kind of cool, right? So we'll see what happens here. Okay. But pretty crazy. I was expecting it to be a little bit longer. Okay. It was still eventful to a certain extent. There's still some questions about certain things, like about the standing silent. There's still some questions about that. In fact, let me pull this up because I thought this was interesting. Actually, we'll be going back to JB in a little bit. WFLA. We'll be going back to that here in a second. But Sleuthy Goose, eh? All right. Sleuthy Goosey. Shout out to Sleuthy. Okay. Another really great online investigator and all that. She does some amazing work, guys. So shout out to Sleuthy. Seriously, it's really cool growing this family. I'm getting to know some really great people in this corner, in the true crime realm of the internet, and it's really cool that it's a family, right? We all work together and we all trying to help each other out, giving each other information and all that. But one thing she said this is from a North Carolina website, I guess. Interesting, and this has to do with defendant enters plea. Let me show you guys this. Actually, let me make this a little bit bigger. There we go. Says this: the defendant enters a plea during the arraignment. There are several options available for the pleas. The option you choose depends on the crime, the circumstances surrounding the crime, what your lawyer advises, and whether you have entered into a plea agreement. You can choose one of these plea options. So here are the many options you have. Entering a guilty plea means you admit to the crime. We already know that one, okay? We all have grown and known that one. I'm guilty. And then, you get sentenced and bye-bye, right? Entering a not guilty plea means that you claim you did not commit the crime. Duh, we already know that piece too. Entering a no contest plea does not admit guilt, but it also does not dispute the charges. Often a no contest plea is used if there is a related civil trial against you. This has nothing to do with this situation. Entering a mute plea means that the court will enter a plea of not guilty. The plea is used if you want to dispute and maybe NC. I don't know what NC is. What is NC? Well, let me really repeat that again. Entering a mute plea means that the court will enter a plea of not guilty. This plea is used if you want to dispute the NC felony process up to that point. See, I'm thinking it's North Carolina, but maybe it's not North Carolina. Now I want to know what the heck is NC. What does NC stand for? That's what I'd like to know as well. Hold on. Let me see here. No contest. Maybe it's no contest. Let me see. Let's see what happens here. But let me see. I appreciate you guys retweeting and all that too. Be sure to follow me on Twitter, okay? The Pascal Show, one word. I appreciate it. Yeah, it must be no contest. No contest. Okay. No contest felony process. Okay. But that's very interesting. Okay. Yeah. So again, let me see what's up. Let me reach out to Andrea.
Oh, I thought you had.
But let's listen to this a little bit.
In Idaho, do you not have that option?
And even if you did have that option, is it past this is a
I don't think
question
if
for
they
you.
have the option, I don't believe it's past that point. I don't believe. I think
Okay.
that could happen at any time. Good question for a legal expert. I don't know the answer to that, but
It's a great, yeah. I mean, again, we were supposed to have the lawyer, Peter Tragos, to provide legal expertise on this live stream. He texted me saying he had a technical issue that he could not believe.
The insanity defense. The insanity defense has not been available in Idaho since 1982.
Wow,
according to
that's
look
good
at
to
him
know.
contributing.
News Nation. That according to a legal expert. So no.
Last one, we'll get you out on this. # Walt from Cheryl. Do you think they'll be able to find an impartial jury? We asked this question before every high profile trial.
I've been I've covered stories of international intrigue and I'm always amazed that as you sit during the voir dire process, or as a judge in Texas once called it, voir dire, but it's really voir dire.
Pronunciations, man.
And that's basically jury selection, right? As you go through that process, you'd be amazed. And I'm assuming that Cheryl, it's not my sister Cheryl, is it?
Cheryl, are you Cheryl? Buteau?
She might pronounce it differently, but I'm assuming Cheryl, anybody on this feed is into the story.
Yeah.
So they can't imagine somebody who is not into the story, right? Well, there are people if you sit in on the voir dire process, in this case, I guarantee you will find people who, I don't know a lot about it. I didn't really read the headlines, but keep in mind, it's okay if you have extensive knowledge about a case. You can still be put on a jury. And keep in mind, attorneys get peremptory challenges. They agree on how many they get. That basically means I don't want JB on my jury. I don't have to say why. I just don't want him on my jury. But some people, some it might strategically, and this would be a great question for an attorney. You might want them to know a lot about the case. One side might want them to know a lot about the case, and they may want to get them into that pool, into the final jury.
Jury
and the
selection
other side,
is huge.
It is great. It's the strategy that goes, because you only need one. You only need one. You need to cast some doubt.
It's one juror.
And if you can get 3 or 4 that maybe think, maybe they don't, I don't know. What would you look for here? You'd look for somebody who doesn't, and maybe a little anti-government that might trump up charges.
Yeah, but how do you find that out through jury selection?
Man. Good question.
Yeah, the questionnaire would include something that would hint for that bias.
But then I think it's a matter of I think a good defense team has somebody who specializes in jury selection, and they know body language. They know, I said this, well, that might mean this. And I think jury selection
is fascinating.
Is the most fascinating part of a case. But as a reporter, can be quote unquote boring because we don't really know exactly the machinations that are going into what's being asked. And so you can imagine it. You kind of find out after from a good attorney, oh, we liked this juror because of this. Yes, the answer, yes, they will find an impartial jury. I believe in the system. I really do. And I think that it may amaze you as you're following this case.
I'm going to tell you a story. You're going to love this. I'm always trying to advance how we do news here, streaming, interactivity. And I was on a call a few weeks ago with 3 developers, 3 brilliant people. We were talking about, streaming and interactivity and social media, and we were having a great conversation. And I made a reference to, one time I did, one time I had a need for a tool that would help me do this in the Gabby Petito story. And all 3 of them, this is a true story. All 3. Well, no, it was one guy who said, what was that story? Gabby Petito?
There you go.
And he goes,
right.
Who's Gabby Petito? Because they needed context to understand that it was a missing persons case.
That's right.
And so I said, oh, Gabby Petito, missing person, national search for
international intrigue.
Yeah, international intrigue.
Yeah.
And then I was blown away because the second and third developers on the call, he asked, hey, you guys ever hear Gabby Petito? And I go, no. And they were not, I know for a fact, they were not having a go at me or anything like that. They genuinely had no idea who Gabby Petito was. And it was through all 3 developers on this call.
Wow.
So
and
can you find an impartial jury?
Yes,
can you find,
and keep this in mind too, Cheryl, whether you're my sister or not, keep this in mind. There are people who don't want to be on juries because for multiple reasons, fear, time, right? So they are going to poison their answers, and you can see it when you watch voir dire. But there are also people who want to be on the jury, and they might even say, and I'm sure this has happened. Oh, I've never heard about this case. No, because they might want to be on the jury because it's intriguing to be on a jury for this case if you have the time. So does that mean they're impartial? It may or may not, but it does help the ability to find a so-called impartial jury.
This is the gag order hearing. Let's listen in live. Walt will let you go. Thank you so much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, okay.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's open it up. Okay. Say something, Mr. Perone. Still, I don't know. technology's great until it's not. Okay. Are your speakers all the way out, Mr. Caron? Tap it. Or hit it. Whatever you prefer. Just kidding. Do we have tech people who take care of this?
All technical difficulties, basically.
JB here with you in the Stream Center. Just wanted to let everybody know I'm boosting the audio just a little bit so that hopefully everybody can hear, but this is the raw audio being boosted a little bit out of Idaho. This is, again, believed to be the gag order hearing out of Idaho.
Somebody is trying to fix that? Ms. Massa, excuse me, can I hear you now? Say something. Oh yeah, what I can do is should I just move mine up? And that will pick it up. But then we'll have a big echo. Obviously, I am not very skilled at such things. Okay. Really sorry for all the delays. There were other things going on before I came into court, and now we have this. So thank you for your patience. Okay, while we're waiting for that, I'm going to recognize Mr. Gray, who's representing the Gonsalves family. My plan was to go through the variety of motions that each representative has, starting with the Associated Press, then going to the Gonsalves family, and then to the party's counsel, and we'll see where we go. But we're not going to have an 11 o'clock because we're just going to take care of all the scheduling issues now in this hearing.
Okay, guys.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Well, I'm going to mute this because obviously we already know the kind of like the nuts and bolts of everything. But I do have somebody very special that I'm going to bring on here. Okay. We've been waiting for her, and I appreciate her being here. Hopefully everything works. We're going to find out right now. Please welcome Andrea Burkhardt to the house. What's up, girl? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Pascal. How you doing?
I'm
can you hear me?
Good. First, yes, I can.
Perfect.
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
So I want to say thank you so much for being here, because I know that there is that, you know, you got up early, you got up super early, drove out to be a part of this today and all that. So I do appreciate you being there. And of course, we got some questions for you. So you ready to rock and roll?
I'm ready to rock and roll.
Okay. All right. So first off, I know I did ask you, you were corresponding with me via DM and all that, and I do appreciate you doing that. But what was the atmosphere like with the arraignment to start off with?
Mm-hmm. With the arraignment, the atmosphere was a little bit tense, I think. Of course, the family is present. One whole side of the courtroom was basically reserved for family members of the victim. So there were quite a few people there. That was very emotional. There were quite a few tears when the names of the victims were read out in the course of the charges. There was also, somebody had an infant, which was, I found, sort of nice, because the infant was making these gurgling noises that, like babies do. And it was just a sort of pleasant counterpoint to what, is otherwise a pretty grim proceeding.
Yeah, no kidding. I know that you said it was like kind of it warmed the room up a little bit, given the fact that life is still happening, there's still life in the room, and all that
goes on.
And from my understanding, I think that was Kaylee Gonzalez's sister's baby, if I'm correct. So that I think, they all showed up in solidarity. But can you tell me anything about, Bryan himself, Bryan himself? Did you see his demeanor? Was there anything that maybe you saw that maybe the cameras weren't able to capture during his arraignment?
So the cameras probably had a much better view than I did. I was at the very back of the courtroom, behind pretty much everybody, so I got enough of the back of his head, but that was pretty much it. His voice does come out very clear, very strong. He wasn't, cracking or sounding nervous or anything like that. He did sound confident in his answers, and just with the expectation of having to say things, out loud in public like that.
Okay. Now, there's something else too that I wanted to understand. Standing silent.
Mm-hmm.
During his plea, he didn't say anything at all. And so the judge just said, okay, you're putting in a not guilty. What was up with that? Like, let's talk about that technically first. What in regards to law was that all about, so that we can understand?
So that was about Idaho Criminal Rule 11. And so Idaho Criminal Rule 11 sets out what the types of pleas are that you enter in a criminal case, and then what happens if you don't enter a plea, if you refuse to enter a plea. The rule uses the language refuse, and that's because sometimes you will get, difficult people in the courtroom who don't necessarily want to cooperate with the process and stuff. And so if they refuse to enter a plea, you can't just allow them to be able to put the proceeding at a standstill. So the rule says if you refuse to enter a plea, then one will be entered on your behalf. Now, having said that, Bryan Kohberger not entering his plea does not come across as, a refusal, as an attempt to be difficult. It looks like something that was, Ann Taylor recommended that he handle it this way for whatever reason. There could be a number of reasons for that. I did see a suggestion, which I'm not sure. It is possible that may be necessary in some respect to preserve objections that he might have to the process that got them up to this point. So that is a possibility. I would research that some more and get back to you on it, because I can't say one way or the other. My immediate reaction to it is that to come out and say not guilty, not guilty, not guilty 5 times, particularly in the presence of the victims' families, it's a strong position to take. And so they're going to have a reaction to that, which is going to be, I think, a little bit more of an adversarial type of position. So one possible reading of it is that it could be an indicator that they want to, keep it less, not fan the flames, so that there are opportunities to perhaps explore, discuss plea bargaining on the table. Again, just a possibility.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, did it shock you? Were you surprised by that? By his non-response to a plea?
I was not. To me, it did not seem particularly unusual. Another possibility, of course, is that's customary in this court. I don't know one way or the other. But from the attorney's standpoint, it did not jump out at me as anything particularly unusual. It's just a formality that was available to them. They had a reason for taking it, and so they did.
Interesting. A bona fide troublemaker just asked this really quick. Is standing silent different than taking the fifth?
I mean, I suppose, yes, in some respects it is. Technically, if you say I plead not guilty, those are words that can be used against you. Having said that, though, typically you're not going to, that's not going to be something that would be admissible at trial. It's kind of a procedural step that you take. You know, it's clearly, it's not a confession or anything like that. So, I mean, that might be a related concept, but I don't think that that's, you know, per se, like the reason why you would do that.
Okay. Yeah. Cause I mean, I feel like it would be different, or it's a different thing. It's a different situation. Pleading the fifth is different than standing silent, but you were going to say?
Yeah. I was going to say, I mean, technically, yes, he is exercising his right to remain silent. He is exercising his Fifth Amendment and Sixth Amendment right. But it's just from a standpoint of what would the alternative downside be? Like if he actually said not guilty, is that going to be used against him? I mean, well, yes, he's going to trial. He's going to be treated as not guilty, you know, whether he says the words or not. So, yes, he's exercising his Fifth Amendment right.
Okay. Now, when it comes to, I mean, obviously because I feel like a lot of us were very shocked about the standing silent, didn't say anything, and because I've never seen that ever in my life. So that was very, very brand new stuff to me. But obviously, now they're going to be, or we are all going to be seeing him back inside a courtroom on October 2nd at 8:30 a.m. Now, a question that I think a lot of us were asking as well, or at least wondering about, what exactly is this? What are we walking into now? Because at first it was supposed to be a preliminary hearing on the 27th or 26th of June, but obviously that has been thrown out the window. Now, October 2nd, what kind of hearing is this?
So we actually got a number of dates set this morning, and I'll go through those in just a second here. But to answer your question about October 2nd, that is the trial date. Bryan Kohberger did not waive his right to a speedy trial. So that means in Idaho, they have 6 months to bring him in. And basically what Ann Taylor said is all we are prepared to do today is to ask for the trial date to be set. And so that's indicating, you know, they're not prepared to waive. So it needs to be within that time frame. So basically before November, you know, approximately 22nd. So the October 2nd date is our trial date. Now, is it actually going to go forward then? We'll have to wait and see. It does seem unlikely to me that the case is going to be ready that quickly. But we also saw his choice of the speedy to waive the speedy preliminary hearing kind of came back and bit him a little bit. You know, that it gave the state the time that they needed to be able to convene that grand jury, get the indictment, and then avoid that process altogether. So he may have, you know, second thoughts now about giving the state kind of a glimpse of his cards in that respect. So it is still possible that he can, as the time gets closer, if he's not ready, he can ask to continue the trial date, you know, on the grounds that he needs more time to prepare, and he can waive his right to a speedy trial at that time.
Yeah. The fact that it got moved, or the fact that she said October, we just need 4 to 6 weeks to get prepared. To me, it felt very overly confident, especially when you got 51 terabytes of content that you got to still come through. You still got all this stuff you got to do. I mean, for her to sit there and say, we could do October. We got this, was a bit of a surprise to me. So if they do actually stay with that date, I will be very surprised. I feel like they're going to push it to January. They're going to push it to February. They're going to push it even more. They ain't done with the pushing and trying to extend the date any further from than October 2nd. That's very soon, guys. Yeah. But moving on, okay, because obviously now they, of course, had the scheduling conference for the gag order. What was going on in there? I know that there was a lot of technical difficulties. I mean, I'm just showing it to you guys right now. As you can see, they were having issues on top of issues with the whole "can you hear me now" type of stuff. Like, they didn't know how to use Zoom, guys, it seemed like. But when they finally got things up and running, what was going on in there? What was the vibe? Break it down for us.
Well, that was actually fascinating because this is a very boring hearing, right? We're here to set a hearing. We're here to schedule stuff. And so trying to coordinate a bunch of lawyers, you know, being able to be in the same place at the same time is not the most thrilling courtroom theater. But boy, we got a bit of a rant from Judge. He really lit into the AP and held them to the fire a little bit on their briefing. He was very explicit in saying irreparable harm goes both ways, and he took issue with the AP characterizing the First Amendment as absolute, made a point of reminding them, no, there's a Sixth Amendment also. This is a balancing test, and you need to ratchet it back. Called out the attorney for a portion of his briefing where he had referred to the holding of the Idaho Supreme Court on the gag order case. It was not the holding. The judge knows it's not the holding, and he doesn't appreciate the lawyers characterizing it as if it's a holding. So this really came across to me as something of a warning shot. He I think, you know, understandably is taking this process very seriously, but he also just simply does not find this type of advocacy to be beneficial. And so to give them an overt warning like that of, you know, you might need to change your tone a little, you don't see that often from the bench. So that was pretty remarkable.
Wow. And it's interesting because, of course, the judge has to stay sitting on the fence, basically, and all that, so that they get a fair trial or a fair hearing with all this. But what do you think? Where do you think is going to be leaning towards? I know that they got a couple dates set up. June 9th is when the hearing is supposed to happen, correct?
Yes.
So what do you think? Where do you think it's going to be leaning towards? Do you think that this gag order is finally going to get lifted? The Gonsalves family is going to be able to finally speak? Or do you think it's going to stay exactly where it is from this point on?
My suspicion is that there will be a split the baby type of scenario. My personal opinion on the gag order, I do think it is legally speaking overbroad. When they litigated this in the Idaho Supreme Court, one of the kind of things that they focused on was, well, this is just based on the rules of professional responsibility that apply to lawyers. So lawyers have to follow these rules anyway. The gag order isn't really doing anything above and beyond that. But the problem is that the gag order is applying to a lot of people that aren't subject to the rules of responsibility for lawyers, the police officers, the investigators, the lab employees, you know, all of those types of people. Yeah. Now, there's very good reason why you might want those people to be gagged and not, you know, pre-litigating the case in media like that. So he's got, you know, some discretion to decide how these things need to be balanced out. They were referencing the likelihood that there's going to be a defense media expert who's going to present evidence, you know, likely on the media coverage and the type of effect that it's had. So depending on what they have and what they come up with, that could potentially, you know, have a lot of influence with the judge. He clearly is taking Bryan Kohberger's right to a fair trial very, very seriously, made that crystal clear in his comments today. And so my gut reaction is that he is going to err on the side of what he thinks is necessary to keep the trial fair.
Yeah, and of course, you know, kudos to Judge for doing that. Not so much messing up the names, but I do appreciate him just trying to have a fair trial and an unbiased trial as well, because this is not the court of public opinion. This is the court of law. And so, of course, you know, he should get the right type of representation and the right type of trial, so that we actually lock up the right person, right? Now, obviously, of course, we got to talk about the motion to compel. Now, the motion to compel didn't even happen today. What's up with that? What happened?
Correct.
Why did that not go down?
Yeah, it didn't happen. They did not discuss the merits of that at all. It was another one that they ended up just scheduling for down the road. It's not clear if maybe there's going to be more briefing on it, if the judge is just kind of, or the parties are maybe signaling, you know, we're going to try to work this type of thing out on our own. It may not have to end up going to the court at all. You know, not a lot of information about that, but that was a bit of a disappointment for me. That was the main thing that I was interested in seeing, is filling in some of the gaps about these requests and, you know, why they are or are not important to the defense.
Yeah, that really sucked, because I was hoping to hear some information about that too. You know, obviously we wanted to know what was going to be staying in and what was not going to stay in this trial and all that. And given the fact that they have moved that to the 27th of June now, is actually really interesting. But maybe by spreading these things out a little bit, it gives them more time to focus on each and every single one of those issues properly, so that they can come to an agreement, come to a decision the best way possible, maybe. But yeah, it is kind of interesting that they moved everything to a different date.
Yeah, no, I think you're right that a lot of it is just because they have a lot to get through right now. And so the gag order litigation, they're going to need to brief that. The judge, you know, specifically called for briefing on it. He wants legal briefing. So they know, you know, I get this message loud and clear that you want a lot of thorough research on this. So that is, of course, going to take up a lot of their time and attention, and just, you know, dividing it across all of these different types of disputes, particularly now that we don't have a preliminary hearing imminent. It isn't necessarily critical that those discovery types of issues get sorted out completely at this stage. So it can wait. So it got essentially deprioritized.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll see what happens here with June 9th and June 27th. The month of June is very busy. It's going to be very, very busy for Kohberger and the whole Kohberger's team and all that. It'll be a very interesting and busy time. Any other pieces of information that you may have been able to gather while you were in there?
Not really. It was, you know, quite full. There was a lot of media present, even with the live stream being there. So I don't know if that's going to continue, or if that was just because, you know, people maybe weren't sure what the situation was going to be in terms of being able to report. Judge did ask as well, for when they go into this hearing on the gag order, that they be prepared to talk about cameras in the courtroom and the appropriateness of that. And so it's likely that some of those decisions are, you know, maybe going to get fleshed out a little bit more in that hearing. But by and large, things were quite orderly. I think that to the extent there was, you know, maybe some chaos the first time around, with dealing with this type of crowd, they seem to have a pretty well organized system this time, so things went very smoothly, other than, like you saw, the minor tech glitches and stuff like that are kind of endemic in video court.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Would there be a possibility? Do you think there's going to be cameras in the courtroom, like actually live streaming this trial at all? You know, if it does happen on October 2nd, do you really think that there's going to be cameras live streaming this whole thing?
Well, I think just our record to date is very favorable for that. You know, the fact that they're having cameras in for an arraignment, you know, which is, I mean, it's like a nothing hearing. We're reading a script basically. That does bode well for them having those more substantive proceedings done on camera as well. As far as the live stream, I think that's really the big question, whether they're going to keep it on this delay that they've been doing or go ahead and allow it to be seen in real time. I imagine that some of the concern about that is just managing the courtroom. They're concerned about things can happen, emotions, you know, get high, people can do strange things, and, you know, just to have the opportunity, I guess, to be able to kind of yoink that before it goes out on the air seems to be a precaution that they want to take. How necessary that is in light of how smooth the hearings seem to have gone so far, maybe a question that comes up. I think certainly most of the people watching would prefer to see it live. So we'll see how that comes out.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they don't really give a damn about viewers, right? They don't give a damn about numbers, but there are a lot of people that do want to know what's going on, that do want to have transparency within this trial. But I do feel like it's going to be just as big as like the Amber Heard, Johnny Depp type thing, where every tiny anybody takes a beat change, anybody takes a sip of water, anything, it's going to be hyper analyzed, and it'll be headlines for like the next few weeks, however long the trial actually lasts for. That's the only bad side I can see on that. But as far as transparency, I think it's incredibly important. And I think because there's a lot of people that do want to see what actually went down and how it all went down, and see the truth instead of just hearing hearsay and rumors that are being thrown about. So it'll be very interesting what they decide to do over the next couple months here. Could cameras in the courtroom benefit Bryan Kohberger? I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
It's hard to say, you know, if it turns out that it's maybe a little bit of a thinner case than has been pitched to us, then yeah, that's certainly gonna favor Bryan Kohberger. Him also just continuing to present this demeanor of being essentially respectful. He's been very respectful to the court, to the process. He's not causing any trouble. He's, you know, answering appropriately and the way that he's supposed to. He's not arguing with anybody. A lot of times in criminal court, these are not things that you take for granted. Okay. People can get a little bit unruly in there. And so that's clearly not him. And so the more that he then presents in that type of fashion as coming across as somebody who is behaving reasonably and respectfully, you know, might be enough to kind of re-encourage some of the presumption of innocence that people, you know, might be inclined to give him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. We'll see what happens. I mean, obviously, if he's just quiet like this, quiet as a mouse the entire time, you know, of course, the world we live in, people will just start drawing things up and assuming everything. You know, idle minds, right? You know, you give some people some time to just fester on something, that they'll come up with something, and it's pretty crazy. Sure. So, Andrea, I really do appreciate. Oh, one other thing though, did you know, like, did he smell funny? Did he smell like prison?
Not that I smelled. No, not that I smelled. He looks pretty normal. I had seen some media reports about him losing like a lot of weight in jail and stuff like that. It really did not look like that to me. You know, looked pretty much the same way he did the first time around. So
okay, good.
Nothing weird. Well, just a guy in orange.
Good. Yeah, just a guy in an orange jumpsuit. And yeah, you know, and I am actually happy to hear that he's not being mistreated, is not showing any signs of mistreatment behind bars and all that as well, because he still is human. He still needs to at least survive to get to trial. You know what I mean? So I am happy that nothing bad is actually happening to him in the meantime, so we can actually get closer to, hopefully we can get closer to the truth here when he goes to trial on October 2nd. So Andrea Burkhart, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for going out there and just checking it out. I know that you went there out of curiosity for yourself, but at the same time, I really do appreciate you sharing the experience in the courtroom with all of us. It really does mean a lot to me and a lot to us. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yes. So I'm sure you got a long drive back home and all that. So please have a safe drive back, and we'll be talking to you soon. Okay.
All right. Sounds good. We'll be in touch.
All right. Bye. Guys, I want to say a big thank you to Andrea for being here. It really did mean a lot because she was literally in there, just boots on the ground, in the room, seeing all the chaos, seeing all the craziness, seeing all the technical difficulties that they were having in all of that. And so it really, really means a lot that she came, that she was there. And also it means the world to me that she was able to come onto the show and give us her firsthand experience, being in the room, checking out everything that was, all the things that were moving and grooving in that during that time. So it really, really does mean the world to me that she shared it with us, little old me. So that really does mean a lot. But anyway, guys, that is the show. As you heard, motion to compel has been pushed to June 27th. The hearing for the gag order has been moved to June 9th. Okay. They got a bunch of other things they got to do before that hearing on June 9th, but they are really working hard to try to get that gag order lifted, or at least, I don't know, maybe loosened up a little bit. But we will be checking those things out as the time continues. And remember, June 9th is not far from here, guys. That's very, very soon. Okay. So it's not that far away. June is literally around the corner. It's coming up, y'all. It is coming up. So a lot of this stuff that feels like it's going to be so far away from now is not. Okay. So just be ready, because there's going to be a lot of stuff going on over the course of the month of June. Okay. And then, of course, again, the actual trial allegedly, I'm just going to say this, allegedly starts October 2nd at 8:30 a.m. I'm telling you right now, I don't know if I believe all that. I believe it when I see it, because there's been so many things that have been transpiring since the jump with this trial. So I'll believe it when I see it when we approach October 2nd. But still, that's what they have right now. We'll see if they go through 51 terabytes of data with ease that quickly. They still got time, so we'll see if that actually goes down. Anyway, guys, I really do appreciate you guys for being here. Really means a lot. I had a great time. Epic show, epic turn of events. Shout out to Andrea Burkhart. Please go follow her on Twitter at @BurkhartLaw. Okay, she's fantastic. She also has a YouTube channel with the same handle, so go over there and give her some love because she deserves it. Okay, hit that subscribe button. Okay, and of course, hey, shameless plug. If you haven't done it yet, please follow me on Twitter. Okay, The Pascal Show, one word. But of course, over here too, this is important. Hit that like button down below. Crush it. Make it scream out your doggone name. That would really, really mean a lot. And of course, if you haven't done that yet, hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you know when I go live, and set it to all so that you know when I go live. All right. And whenever I upload, because those are random. All right. And if you want to support this channel, by all means, hit that join button down below. That would be greatly, greatly appreciated. You know, your boy's working hard out here in these streets, and I really do enjoy giving you guys the information that you need for the day. Okay, guys? But anyway, it is time to get going. I will most likely be on a little bit later on this evening. Maybe, I don't know yet. I'm still trying to figure out if I am. It depends on the story that I'm covering. Oh, speaking of which, I do have a pop-up video that I put up yesterday about baby India, some new information about baby India. If you don't know about that, please go and check out that pop-up video, okay? The biological mother has finally been arrested after being, I guess, hiding in plain sight for the past 4 years. And the information about this woman is absolutely shocking, and how they caught her is kind of like how they caught Bryan Kohberger, which is absolutely shocking as well. So please go check out that pop-up video. That would really mean a lot. Anyway, it is time to get going. All right? Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. And I'll see you guys very, very soon. This is the Pascal Show. Bye.